Welcome, one and all, to another edition of An Eternity of Basketball. An Eternity of Basketball, part of the Globally Ballin Network. They have a new show called Who the Heck Are We? And on their latest episode, episode 38, Randolph Youngson takes on a PBA mock draft. Of course, it's draft day in the PBA tomorrow. You might want to check that out. There's also a show called Hang Time with Denise Dinsay, the most recent episode with Kai Balawaloa. And check that one out. That's volleyball talk on the Hang Time with Denise Dinsay show. The Globally Ballin Network, lots of things to check out there. Original articles, audio and video projects, all shows available on YouTube. Check out all the social media of the Globally Ballin Network. And we're on YouTube. AOB, March 14th. That's tomorrow. All episodes 1 to 40 will only be on the Globally Ballin YouTube channel. Everybody has to go over there and subscribe to that channel so you can catch all the past episodes of An Eternity of Basketball. We're on Spotify as well. You can listen to us on the go, anytime, anywhere. Hear our voices. You're going to hear Noel Zarate's famous voice if you listen to us. Of course, Linktree/Globally Ballin. That connects you to everything else that you need to know here on the Globally Ballin Network. And this is An Eternity of Basketball, episode 72. And we're very pleased today to have a guest who was one of the top imports back in the time where there were two imports for the teams back then in 1986. And he led his team together with the great Michael Young to the finals in the 1986 Open Conference, where they finished second to Billy Ray Bates and Michael Hackett. We'll talk about that later. That was Ginebra. He played for Manila Beer. He also played, of course, for Santa Clara. He also played, he's in the Hall of Fame of Santa Clara. And then he also played for the Dallas Mavericks, a young up-and-coming team back there in those mid-'80s. So he'll tell us about those stories we have with us today. Harold Keeling on the show. Welcome to the show, Mr. Keeling.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I want to say hello to everybody in Manila and all over the Philippines.
Of course, I'd like to introduce myself, which I forgot once again. I'm Charlie Cuna. Together with Noel Zarate and Sid Ventura, the usual three, we're here. Aaron's behind the scenes once again. And so, Harold, we welcome you on board. And, well, of course, we're going to reminisce about your time here in the Philippines, but we want to talk about the rest of your career as well. It's a long career in basketball that you had. So we have to start right away because this might take hours. Wait, so you're born in New Orleans. Am I right?
Yes, sir. I was born in New Orleans in 1963. My mom and myself, we moved to San Francisco when I was 3 years old. I grew up in San Francisco most of my life. And
really, so that's where you started playing basketball. It wasn't in Orleans. It was in San Francisco in the Bay Area where you learned to pick up that ball and dribble the way the great ball handling skills started over there. How'd you start getting into basketball? Was there someone who influenced you, or is it something, was it a community thing that influenced you?
Yes.
Because everyone around you was playing ball?
In San Francisco, I lived in a place called the Geneva Towers. There were two buildings, 20 floors each, and there were 2 or 3 full-court basketball courts outside. And growing up, every place that I lived, there was always a basketball court right outside where I could look out my window and see one.
Were they chains for the nets?
In the Geneva Towers, they were chain nets, yes. And then in Lakeview in San Francisco, I had a place called Farragut School, and we played there almost every day. And I think they didn't even have any nets at that court. It was fun playing there, though. I grew up over there playing for St. Emilius, and then I played at Aptos Junior High School. And I got my City Ball shirt on from San Francisco.
Right. Represent.
Yeah. A lot of Filipino friends that's in San Francisco as well.
That's right. Yeah. Who were your early influences, Harold, when you're growing up? Who would you say, I'm going to be like this, I'm going to move like this guy?
I'm the oldest person in my family as far as the next generation. I don't have any brothers older than me. I don't have any cousins older than me. My brother, Curtis Bumpy Keeling, is younger than me. He was a basketball player, and Jamila is my little sister. So my role models weren't guys who were very old. My role models were guys who were close to my age, but a couple years older than me. You know, I watched Francois Wise play when I was younger, and he lived only 1 block from me. So when I went to the Philippines, I saw his posters all over, and he had murals on the wall, and we went to get sweatsuits, and his picture was on the wall. And a friend of mine, Don Robinson, played in the Philippines as well. And Don Robinson played in the Philippines. I went to the Philippines. Don Robinson played in Israel. I played in Israel after. Don Robinson went to France. He introduced me to the same agent, Didier Rose, and I ended up playing in France over there. He got me over there, and I played 4 years there. Don Robinson played in Venezuela. Then I came to Venezuela. We ended up playing in the final. We kind of kicked their butt, but I did a lot of things that he did. He played in the Pro-Am in San Francisco, and he played at Mission High School, and I learned a lot of things from him.
How about NBA guys? I mean, growing up, who were you mimicking when you were growing up in San Francisco?
I would say Magic Johnson more than anybody else. I played point guard when I was in the NBA. I played point guard in the Philippines. Up until that point, I was a shooting guard in college and shooting guard in high school. And I used to like George Girvin, and he was one of the best players I've seen.
George, the Iceman.
Growing up in San Francisco, the basketball scene there. Did you play against any future legends or future pro players?
Growing up in San Francisco, as I got a little older, I did because I played in the Pro-Am. But the first few players I played against when I was in the 10th grade, I played in the Pro-Am. And there was a guy, Phil Smith, who passed away. He was one of the best players who ever played in San Francisco. He played for the Warriors. And then there was a point guard. His name was Gus Williams. He also played with the Warriors. And then we all of us wanted to be like Rick Barry. He was the best player in the whole wide world that we knew when we was growing up in San Francisco. They won the championship, and he was the most valuable player of the finals. And right now, we work together in the NBA Retired Players Association. So it's quite an honor to work in that association. I'm the CFO of the Atlanta chapter, and it's a tremendous honor to work with the guys that I idolized when I was playing when I was young.
But you don't shoot free throws like Rick Barry.
No, I don't think anybody does. Actually, that was amazing. I try. I think everybody tried it at one point. That takes a lot of skill. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So.
Yeah, Will Chamberlain was shooting free throws that way when he started out, right?
Yeah, two different things. Will wasn't making them like Rick Barry. Even Rick Barry's sons didn't shoot like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's
true. And they were shooting. They didn't follow his form. They didn't want to be laughed at by the crowd. But Rick Barry didn't care as long as they're going in, right?
That's some big shoes to fill, though, to follow behind Rick Barry. But he had three sons who were very good players.
Yeah, that's right.
Brent Barry played in the NBA. John Barry, and then he had another son, Scooter Barry, and Drew Barry.
Yeah.
So three of those
Scooter didn't make it to the. He only played in the CBA, I think. But
three of the guys.
But Scooter was the one who was shooting free throws like his dad, actually.
And he's the one that didn't make it.
He's the one who played
But he won, an NCAA, a national championship with Danny Manning, right?
That's right, with Danny Manning. That's the one. That's the one.
Now, when they played it at Kansas, I went to the game because I was playing for the Mavericks at the time. So we went to the Danny Manning played against. I think that was '86, and they ended up playing against Louisville, and never was on the team. So the game was at Dallas. So we had practice earlier, and then we went to the game after. That was my first time going to the Final Four. I really enjoyed it.
How does a guy who goes from New Orleans goes to San Francisco? How does he end up at Santa Clara? Who recruited you over there at Santa Clara?
Santa Clara was 1 hour away from my house, and I was going to go to Santa Clara or Stanford, and I ended up going to Santa Clara, and I'm very glad I went there. I made a lot of friends. The school was very educational for me. I got a finance degree there after 4 years, and if I came out again and they had the same coaches, I would go there again. I learned quite a bit. I learned more at Santa Clara sitting in the cafeteria talking to people who parents were doctors and lawyers and engineers and had their own business and dentists. And it just taught me a lot about business. And, I still have some friends who went to Santa Clara with me that I'm very close to.
I'm just curious because you mentioned that your choice was between Santa Clara and Stanford. Of course, Stanford gets all the headlines, very popular school. Santa Clara doesn't get talked about as much. What made you decide to go to Santa Clara instead of Stanford?
First of all, Santa Clara, they made me feel like they wanted me more. Okay. Stanford is in the Pac-10. It's a bigger conference and it's more popular, and they played on TV more often. But Santa Clara recruited me harder, and I was waiting for Stanford to offer me a full ride. I don't know exactly what they were waiting for, but when I went to the recruiting trip at Santa Clara, they offered me a scholarship, and a good friend of mine, Bill Duffy, was playing there. Another guy, De'Aaron Williams, and two guys my age, Scott Lamson and Nick Vanos. We went to Santa Clara. The three of us went there as freshmen together. Nick Vanos also played in the NBA. We were in the same draft.
That's right.
We played there 4 years together, and then Nick, unfortunately, he passed away in a plane accident.
That's
he
right.
was going to Detroit to meet his fiance's family.
He was playing with Phoenix at the time.
You guys gotta remember that. I think that was like in 88, 87.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, actually,
that was big news.
That was big news.
He was in the NBA with the Phoenix Suns at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Well, so you're at Santa Clara right now, and then you got to play under Carroll Williams, of course. He made his living at Santa Clara. He's like, when you talk about Santa Clara, it's Carroll Williams, right? He coached there for 20-something years. What kind of a coach was he compared to the guys that you had maybe in Lincoln? I don't know what style they had early on in your life, but what kind of a coach was Carroll Williams?
Let's rewind just a little bit. I played at Aptis Junior High for a guy named Ken Dito. He's a very popular guy in the Bay Area, and he had a radio show. And after that, I played at Lincoln High School for Mr. Boyle. His name was Rick Boyle, and he was one of my very best friends in my whole life. He passed away a couple years ago, and we actually I was kind of in charge of setting up his services, and we had it in the gym, where the gym was named Rick Boyle Gym, and we had all his few past players and family members, and it was a very, very nice event. Mr. Boyle came to my games when I was at Santa Clara. Mr. Boyle used to give me $20 a month when I got to college, and then when I got to the NBA, he kept sending $20 a month. I said, Mr. Boyle, I have more money than you now, so it's okay. No, it's okay. You need it. You may need it one day. So he was a wonderful person. Carroll Williams gave me an opportunity to come to Santa Clara, and I'll never forget that he did that. His kids were good friends of mine at school, and his wife, who passed away last year, Miss Williams, she always had us over for pancakes, and when we had recruits come over to see if they wanted to come to Santa Clara, they had a warm home, and they come, and the kids would come there, and the whole team would go over there, and we would eat until they put us out. It was a very, very nice time going over there. Carroll Williams, when I first got there, we had to run 5 miles, and I wasn't a jogger. I was a very good sprinter and very athletic, but long distance was never my thing. But he used to run every morning. So me and Nick Vanos, the two guys who ended up going pro, we ran the 5 miles. We were running so slow. Carroll Williams beat us. He said he was going to put us on the girls' team if we didn't get better. It was pretty motivational at the time. Hey, I definitely have to say something about Dick Davey. He was the assistant coach when I played there, and he became the head coach after Carroll Williams, and he coached Steve Nash and Lloyd Pierce, who was coaching Atlanta Hawks, and Marlon Garnett, who also played in the NBA. And Dick Davey was very real with us, and he was the coach that always yelled at us, and we didn't really appreciate that until we realized how important it was. Even overseas, the things that he taught me and yelled at me about, I could still hear him in the back of my ear yelling at me when I was playing overseas to run back on defense and stop penetration and get a hand up on every shot. And I never forgot those things.
Well, when you were in Santa Clara, you said you had pancakes with those who wanted to probably go to Santa Clara. Did you have a hand in any of these guys that you recruited into Santa Clara, eventually played in Santa Clara? Did you convince some of these guys, hey, come on, join us here?
Absolutely. One of my best guys, his name is Ken Mulkey. He came, he stayed with me. I was his host. And then another guy, his name was Vic Couch, who passed away. He was my best friend at the time. We were roommates on the road. When I was going to Santa Clara, I stayed with Bill Duffy, who is one of the top agents in the United States right now with BDA Sports. And I also stayed with De'Earl Williams. He was a host of mine as well. So it all helped out. And my roommate was at Santa Clara. He was at Lincoln High School with me. His name is Isaac Vaughn. He was the president of the student body at Lincoln High School. And then my other roommate, Brian Kelly, he was at Santa Clara with me. He played soccer. He's from Madrid, Spain. So I had a good time when I was at Santa Clara, but it was a lot of studying. My first roommate, his name was Steve Fukumoto, and he was the valedictorian by the time we were seniors. He was really smart.
Did you have a hand in recruiting? Did you have a hand in recruiting Steve Nash?
Yeah, Steve is a very good guy. I remember going back to the Santa Clara, and we played like in the summertime. And one of my guys, who his name is James Renfro, he played there at Santa Clara already. He went to my high school. So Steve showed up to come play, and he came out there to play. And after playing like 3-on-3 full court with some of the guys, and James said, "Yeah, you're a really good player. Maybe you should try to walk on the team." And Steve said, "Oh no, I'm going to be coming here. I'm already on the team." How embarrassing was that for him to be telling that to the future MVP? He should walk on the team. It was incredible. We always laugh about that. Steve went over there. And, I mean, even to this day, sometimes I have to say, "Yeah, I went to Santa Clara." And if they don't smile or say that they know the place, I say that, where Steve Nash went. "Oh yeah, Santa Clara. Okay, yeah, I get it now." I guess
They put you guys on the map.
Yeah, that's pretty much like Gonzaga when it comes to John Stockton. I'm from
That's
Gonzaga.
the same exact thing, right?
Where John Stockton went.
Gonzaga's been going to the tournament though. They
Oh
they
yeah,
have-
The past 10, 15 years, they've been pretty good, right?
right. They
Back
number
then-
one in the nation. Me and John, we almost the same age. We played against John. John is 1 year older than I am, so I played against him a lot of times in college.
Yeah, because you were in that draft where a lot of the Olympians were, and he was one of the
Yeah.
last cuts for the Olympic team. Remember?
Yeah, that's when John became.
the batch.
That's when he became a professional. He was in the Olympic trials, but I wasn't in that one. No, he's 1 year older than me. So those guys went over there. That was one of the best group of basketball players of our era. That was the Olympic trials was really tough.
You had at least five of those guys from the Olympic team on your draft. Remember, you had Ewing, you had Tisdale, you had Konkak and Klein, right? Oh
Michael Jordan.
The year before,
Yeah, because me and Michael Jordan the same age, but he left 1 year early.
Mhm.
We came out of high school the same year. So me and Karl Malone, they had a good team.
Did they used to have like that McDonald's All-American thing back in your day when they get all the high school players together? And so they had that, right?
They did. Michael Jordan was on that team, and Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin. That's always been an honor to be on that team. I was nominated to be on the team, but I didn't make the cut.
The last cut.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
How did you guys do? Yeah, how did you guys do at Santa Clara? How do you assess your university career when you're over there? I know you placed second in your last 3 years, right? In the conference, right?
We placed second 3 times. So in our conference wasn't a strong conference. So we never made it to the NCAA tournament in all 4 years I played there. So my last 3 years, we took second each time, and we played in the NIT tournament. So we won. We did good in the NIT tournament, but we didn't win the whole thing though.
Yeah.
So we got, the NCAA tournament, they give you these watches. So we got 3 NIT watches instead, which is secondary to the NCAA.
Yeah, you were all conference, and I have a question though. When I was looking at the performance of your team during your time at Santa Clara, so you mentioned some names already, Bill Duffy and Dan Williams and all these guys. What happened to? I mean, you did say Duffy's an agent now and all of that, but what happens with them? They were top scoring when you were a freshman, and then you were, and then all of a sudden, so none of them went on to the NBA. But did they play professionally in other leagues?
Bill Duffy was drafted by the Denver Nuggets in the 5th round, and he didn't play after that. He went to the Nuggets and he didn't make the team, so he immediately became an agent, and he has done very, very well. I mean, like Steve Nash, Yao Ming, and Luka Doncic, and Carmelo was his player. He has a whole lot of players, and he's been doing fantastic with himself. So, and his wife, Jamise Duffy, is we grew up together in San Francisco as well.
Okay.
Star-studded lineup, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Now you've been around star-studded lineups all your life. I mean, the high school batch you were in included Michael Jordan, but then you move into this 1985 draft. What was it like sitting through the entire draft, thinking maybe they're not going to pick me, maybe they're going to pick me later on? I mean, what was that like? Because
that was the first one with the lottery, right? That's the first.
Yeah, that was the lottery, and then there was television coverage. So you're probably thinking, hey, I might have a chance to be on TV, to be drafted. What was that like, waiting for your name to be called?
Noel, that was probably the day of my life. That time went the slowest in all of my life. I just was waiting for my name to come out of their mouths, and it didn't come out as fast as I would have liked it. Also, I played in a tournament called the Aloha Classic. It was the top 40 players in the nation, and it was in Hawaii. So in the last 15, 16 years, everybody who was all tournament in that tournament was first round. So I was all tournament in the first round. Me, Deadlift Shrimp, Joe Dumars, and Xavier McDaniel, and Terry Porter. And we won the championship. And I was one of the leading scorers on the team. After Deadlift was the leading scorer, I was the second leading scorer on the team. So now I'm thinking I'm going first round because everybody else who everyone was all tournament in that tournament was first round. So I was the first one ever that didn't go first round who was all tournament in that tournament. So I was kind of surprised. I was hoping that my name would get chosen. So I got drafted in the third round by the Mavericks.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
But did it have anything to do with you playing shooting guard your entire life instead of being point guard at the height of 6'4"? Did that have anything to do?
It might have had some to do with it, but I was always playing both. It depended on what team I was on and who else we had. I mean, you saw me play point guard over there in the Philippines, and that was short. That was only 1 year after the draft. I went to the Philippines a couple months after I was in the NBA with the Mavericks. So I played point guard when I was in the Mavericks. Played point guard when I was in the Philippines and France and Venezuela and everywhere else.
But Harold, in your defense, the '85 draft, that was one of the most loaded, right? I mean, Patrick Ewing,
it's a whole lot of Hall of Famers.
Chris Mullin, Charles Oakley, Karl Malone.
Right.
Joe Dumars was in that.
Yeah, you did mention Joe Dumars. Yeah.
Terry Porter was there.
AC
Green was there. Our friend Dexter Shouse was in our draft with me.
That's right.
I think he got.
I'm looking at the list right now.
He drafted in the fifth or sixth round, I think.
Yeah. He was.
I'm looking at the list right now, and there are a few former PBA imports there. Frederick Hughes was drafted 14th.
He scored a lot of points in college.
That's right.
He was a first rounder.
Yeah, he played here in 1990. And then Terry Catledge came here, but just played couple of preseason games.
Terry played with Dexter Shouse in college.
That's right. That's right.
He was a good player. He played in the 60s.
Dwayne McClain also came over here.
All of these guys, Frederick was in that tournament in Hawaii that I told you about. I got our tournament, Aloha Classic. Terry Catledge was there. A lot of guys.
Dwayne McClain also played over here.
They won the national championship. He played.
He won there.
He played with Ed Pinckney.
Ed Pinckney.
Yeah, he played here.
He was at Villanova.
Yeah, he played here.
Adrian Branch. Adrian Branch also played for Pure Foods.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
91,
but
he got cut.
Played for the Lakers championship back.
He did. They won a championship.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
he
not
played,
talk about that part.
In college.
Harold, Noel and Sid are Celtic fans, so they don't like me talking about my Lakers. So.
Hey, Ed Pinckney played for Boston.
Yep.
Okay.
He did.
All right.
When I played for the Mavericks, we played over there against the Lakers in the playoffs.
They
beating us.
You gave them a very tough time.
They were really good.
Yeah. You played well against the Lakers.
You go to the Forum back then. There was all kinds of superstars in the stands. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Eddie Murphy.
How about Jack
Nicklaus? Yeah, Ryan Cannon. They had about 50 people on TV that I saw on TV just sitting around the gym. It was something different.
Yeah.
And the Forum Club, they had a party after every game, and I went in there and I just was looking around like, wow, these people I see on TV.
Right. That's how we react when we see you guys. You guys we used to watch on TV before. That's how we react.
Okay.
So Sid was going through the names of the guys that played here from the same draft. Aside from Dwayne McClain, who did you mention? Sid, Frederick Hughes, Fred Cofield, right?
Fred Cofield also, Adrian Branch, and then Perry Young. Played for
Cedric Toney.
Cedric. I talked to Cedric last week. Cedric works with me in the NBA Retired Players Association. He lives here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Cedric, myself, and Dale Ellis is the president of the chapter.
And Perry Young also, who played in Shell. Yeah. You guys came here together. You played against him.
Yes.
Right, when you were here in '86, and then who are the other guys? Derek Girvin.
Derek Girvin and I played on the same team in Venezuela for Marinos.
So he came here in 1994, I think, or '96.
Right.
Yeah. So many years after. He was a vet. He was a vet by the time he came here.
His brother is a Hall of Famer.
Oh yeah, well he's one of the best ever. And then Dexter Shouse you mentioned, and Michael Phelps as well. Played here SMB for San Miguel Beer. Those are the guys that played eventually in the PBA, but you were one of the first. You and Perry Young and Dexter Shouse were the guys who came here.
86.
That's when you guys started taking Americans, right?
Well, no, there were some years before, but that was a good year. That was a great year, '86. A lot of great imports came here to play. I was going to ask you about the days leading up to the draft. Did certain teams work you out? Were you able to work out for certain teams? Did any team tell you we're going to choose you and then they didn't, or anything like that?
Yes, the Mavericks told me that they wanted me, but I was the fourth guy that they chose. They had 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, the big guys. They got the big guys.
One of them. But they chose me. They just didn't choose me first. They chose they took Detlef Shrimp, then they took Bill Wynn, and then they took Uwe Blob. All of those are first rounders. So they had 3 first-round picks, and then they picked somebody in the second round, another 6'10" guy, and then I think
they even got a cover on Sports Illustrated. The 3 of them, Shrimp, Blab, and Wennington, were on the cover of one edition. I guess the Dallas edition.
Right.
Of Sports Illustrated. So you were the guy who's not in the picture, but you were
exactly. They didn't invite you to the picture.
Yeah, well, that's it. The big guys, that's a time when size was really important. So they started getting those big guys.
Yeah, but Charlie, we were rookies together, the 4 of us. So when we got to Dallas, we had to stand on the stage and sing our school song. And after it was all over, they threw eggs and milk and coffee and everything on.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Charlie, I wanted to make the team the next year so bad just so I could throw eggs at people. That was a tradition.
Well, that's a good story. Why'd they do that? Was that like part of your hazing or something like that?
It was the initiation to the team. When you make the team, that's what they did to us. It wasn't cool, Charlie.
I'm looking at that lineup. I'm looking at that lineup now. That's a pretty stacked lineup for Dallas at the time. You guys had guys like Rolando Blockman was also on that team. You had a very young Dale Ellis, James Donaldson, who looks like one of those villains in Superman. Derek Harper was also on that team, and Sam Perkins was in his second year. Jay Vincent was also on that team, and you also had Mark Aguirre. So that's pretty much an all-star team.
Very good team.
You had there, Dallas. Yeah, and then that was. I wonder how you even got playing time after all of these guys names were mentioned.
Most of my playing time ended up being at practice. I'm trying to play hard against these guys so I could get some playing time or just learn things from them. Derek Harper taught me something almost every day. We played all the time, and Detlef Shrimp and I, we weren't playing much because Mark Aguirre and Rolando Blackman and Harper, and there was another guy, Brad Davis, who also played point guard. And when we weren't playing, so every day after practice, Detlef Shrimp and I would play one-on-one full court until we just could not play anymore. So that helped his dribbling, and it helped me finish at the basket because, he was 6'10". So I would have to take the ball and race him down and get to the basket before him, or I was in big trouble. But he had a lot of skills. He could shoot 3-point shots, and he could dunk, and he had moves. He could play back to the basket. He was very talented. So, he came from Germany.
And he had a pretty good career.
Besides you and Detlef Shrimp, there's something that you guys have in common with another teammate that you had there. Sam Perkins actually went here to the Philippines too. So that's 3 former Mavs on that team that went here to the Philippines. He didn't play. He didn't play in the Philippines, but he was here. I mean, we
part of the NBA. One of the
he was part of the NBA entourage. So
he's part of the NBA overseas. He goes overseas quite a bit with the NBA Retired Players Association. Him, Dikembe Mutombo, and those guys. Now, I talk to Sam pretty often. We always see each other at All-Star Weekend and at the NBA Conference. And also, Sam went to the University of North Carolina. He was Michael Jordan's roommate. My nephew, Christian Keeling, my brother Bumpy Keeling's son, he played at the University of North Carolina last year, and he's playing overseas now in England. So Bumpy and I went to several games with North Carolina last year, and we'd see Sam sometime. But we also see Greg Anthony because his son Cole Anthony was playing.
Yeah, Cole.
Right.
Yeah.
And we see Kenny Smith's son played Smith.
Kenny Smith, huh? He's one of the more popular guys now. He has a better career, I think, in broadcasting now than he did when he was in the NBA. He's one of those guys that lots of fans right now.
He played good. We went. Michael Young from Manila Beer with me. We went to the NBA Finals and Kenny Smith was playing against Patrick Ewing, and it was Elijah White. It was Houston against New York Knicks. So Michael Young and I, we went to the finals. It was some good game. We went to the last game, and it was really interesting.
Yeah, that was the John Starks 2 for 16 game too.
Yes, John was he didn't do too well. I talked to my boy Derek Harper after the game because he was playing with the
Knicks.
He was playing with the Knicks, and I thought he was going to be the MVP if they would have won, but because he was playing really well. But they
so there's two guys
played with the Knicks on that year too.
That's right. Yeah, Blackman was there. That's right.
Right. I saw him too.
That's towards the end of his career. Well, there's two guys I wanted to ask you about because Noel mentioned it on that Mavericks team when you were a rookie. Dale Ellis was there, and of course, Dale Ellis was nothing like he would become later on when he was with the Sonics.
Right.
What was your impression about him? Was he already that great a shooter? Even with the Mavs already, you could see the potential.
Yes, absolutely. Me and him was on the scout team, so during the practice, we would always just fast break, and he was always running up, getting ready to shoot threes, and he was an awesome 3-point shooter. One time, we played the Boston Celtics. That's Noel's team. We played Boston Celtics. The game was on TNT, and Dale got hot, and Larry Bird got hot, and Larry Bird had 50 points, and he came over to the side of the bench, and he said, and our coach name was Dick Mata. He said, "Sit down before I start getting hot." And Dick said, "You don't tell me what to do." And he said, "Okay, well, I'm going to go down and shoot this 3-point shot." It was doing a free throw. And he came down and he said, "I'm going to come off a pick, shoot a 3." And he came off and shot it and made it. And then the next time he came down again and told Dick to sit down again. And he said, "If you don't sit down, I'm going to make another shot on the other side this time." He came off a pick and he made it again, all net. And then last time he came and said, "I'm going to make one more. This time I'm going to shoot it off the backboard just for you." And he pointed at the coach. And me and Dad were looking at each other like, this dude is something special. He's telling everybody what he's going to do and still does it. And he came off, got it off the backboard, and he missed it. But me and Detlef were looking at each other like, wow, I can't believe he tried that. It was amazing. I never saw somebody talk so much smack more than Larry Bird.
There's Larry Bird stories all around, man. Even if Xavier McDaniel has one, right? Xavier McDaniel
he was the MVP 3 years in a row. Back when I was in the NBA. He was like the best player in the world at the time.
That's right.
Yeah, that was the best Celtics team. 85-86.
Right.
Yeah.
And Celtics were really awesome that year.
It's crazy that he was the best 3-point shooter, but I think Steph Curry made more shots in 2 years than Larry Bird made his whole career.
It's a different era now.
The game's changed. The game has changed, really.
A lot.
You can camp out at the 3-point line.
He was shooting 3-pointers from half court.
Yeah.
You saw Damian Lillard the way he ended the All-Star game.
Shooting half court.
Crazy. It's a normal thing nowadays. But that other guy I wanted to ask you about is because there's a lot of stories about him, Kurt Nymphus.
Kurt was my guy.
Yeah, but lots of stories about him. He was a bit of a different kind of guy, right?
He was a different type of guy. He played with the Mavericks with me, and I remember the first day we got there, we had to run 2 miles in 12 minutes, and I was thinking some of the big guys weren't going to make it, and they told us if you didn't make it, and we're going to send you back home immediately. So we had to run and get ready for that the whole practice. Kurt took off. They blew the whistle. Kurt took off and just ran past everybody. I was wondering, wow, is he going to keep that pace? And he just ran forever. I couldn't believe it. I thought he was going to pass out at some point, but he beat all of us.
Right.
He was kind of to himself a lot. We get on the plane and he'd just sit by himself and not talk. He didn't talk a lot.
Okay. All right.
I just wanted to ask Harold, because during the 80s, we all know that this was the time that the NBA was still sort of embroiled in the drugs thing. I mean, Roy Tarpley eventually got banned, kicked out of the league because of that. How rampant was the drug problem from somebody who was actually there during that era?
I only played in the NBA for 1 year. At that time, I did not know anybody on our team. We had a good team, a good group of guys. Most of us were kind of young, and I did not know of anybody who was using drugs on our team, which is really fortunate. I mean, even to this day, I've never had a cigarette or any marijuana. I never had a beer in my life or alcohol in my life. So, I hope my kids follow suit and do the same thing. But, in college, you never know what's going to happen with these guys.
Even a Manila beer. You never had a Manila beer in your life.
Not at all. Even I played in France. Even worse than the Manila beer, I played in France, and they had wine with like breakfast and everything. Breakfast, dinner, every meal had some wine. So that was something different.
That was crazy. But you need to tell us about Dick Mota, because he's a Hall of Fame coach, and then he did win a championship with the Bullets, and all of that. What kind of a coach was Dick Mota? Seemed like a colorful character if you see him on TV with his nice coats and all of that, and he liked to talk a lot.
Yes, he had a system at he had a system with the Mavericks, and some of the guys wanted to play playground and get out of the system and run their own play, but he liked the guys to make points through the system, so it looked like his system was the system that was making the points. So he was really strict about that, and he didn't want you to deviate from the plays. If the play was for Mark Aguirre in the post, that's exactly what you wanted. He wanted you to do. He didn't care if you shot the ball and made it. He would still get upset with you. But we had Rolando Blackman, we had Mark Aguirre, we had Sam Perkins and Dale Ellis and Jay Vincent, and most of the plays were for those guys. And I mean, they did a good job. We lost to the Lakers that year. I think. It was a fun team to be on.
That's right.
What was it like?
You were 44-38.
Yeah. What was it like going up against a team that you knew was bound for greatness, but you had to stop them? I mean, you were going up against guys like, of course, Magic Johnson, Byron Scott, Michael Cooper. What was it like going up against that special group of guys for the Lakers? And that takes a lot out of me just to say it's a special group of guys called the Lakers. They
were a special group. One of the greatest teams of all time. A good friend of mine, AC Green, was on that team also. We were in the NBA pre-draft camp together, and Aloha Classic, we were on the same team. And they had, like you said, Byron Scott and Worthy and Magic and Kareem. We lost the first two games against them in the Forum. And Derek Harper called a meeting, and he said, we have to play better than this. We have to play our best game every game. We need to go out there and kick their butts, and we got to make every free throw and play defense and get every rebound. And he just yelled at everybody. It was a players only meeting. At that point, we came out the next game and we kicked their butt. And we won 2 games in a row in Dallas. And then, unfortunately, we went back to the Forum, and it was tough over there. They got hot. They started running fast breaks like crazy. Over, and and Kareem started sky hooking and Worthy dunking on everybody. But I was really proud of our guys, though. Mark Aguirre and Rolando Blackman and Derek Harper, they played really well. We represented, but they ended up being the better team in that series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just like to point out that 86 Lakers team, though, lost to the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals, right?
Yeah, last second tip in by Ralph Sampson.
Yeah, and of course, everyone knows who won the title that year, right?
But it's okay because the Lakers won the next 2, so that's all right. Anyway,
got a good memory.
Yeah. I mean, right? So no problem with that.
We grew up in that era.
Yeah. That's our era, man. We were watching that early mornings here in the Philippines. We'd get up at 1 or 2 in the morning to watch these games.
Yeah.
But when you talk about your 1 year with the Dallas Mavericks, what's your most memorable game or whatever? What's your best memory from that 1 year? The thing that sticks out to you and makes the mark for that 1 year.
I liked playing. This is gonna sound crazy, but on the way we played, we had to go to rookie camp, and there was a coach, the assistant coach of the team. His name was Bob Weiss. And he made me the captain of the team, and I ran the show, and we played against Denver and Utah and all of the teams in the tournament. Then we went to veteran camp, and we did the same thing. It was very fun playing, and I'm playing the whole time and making 20 points and 15 points. In preseason, I think it's 7 points was my high game, maybe 12 in the preseason. After that, when the season started, me and Detlef and Uwe Blob and Bill Winnington, we was on the bench, and Bill started waving the towel every time somebody kicked the basket, and we didn't get off the bench for a while. The veterans came in, and even though we played pretty well against them, they ended up, by the time they got in shape, that was a really good team. All of those guys were, Rolando Blackman and Mark Aguirre, they played in all-star games. And Sam and Derek, they were, to me, they were good enough to play in all-star games.
Yeah.
It was interesting being on that team. We had some real good battles in the practices.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever get into a game against Magic? I mean, you get to play against him?
I got in the game, and Magic wasn't in the game.
Oh,
But
okay.
and that was in the real game. But in a preseason, I was able to play against him. It was kind of interesting because I never realized how big he was. So when he backing you down, he could just see right over the top of you. It was kind of amazing. But I think the biggest experience for me, besides playing against Michael Jordan, was playing against Isaiah Thomas, because I got to play quite a bit. And my dad was at the game. He was living in Detroit. My dad, Robert Keeling, lived in Detroit for a long time. And he came to the game. He called me and said, "Hey, I'm bringing all my friends from work and from my neighborhood. I need about 30 tickets." I'm like, "No, man, that's not how it works around here. I'm just a rookie here. I can't get that many tickets. I'll get as many as I can, and I'll call you." I ended up getting like 9 tickets. But Jay Vincent was from Michigan. They won the national championship, him and Magic. So every time we go to Michigan, well, it was only one time, but he would just take all the tickets and give them to all his friends and family and all of them. So it was kind of interesting. Hey, we started talking about the guys who was in our draft. Jay Vincent's little brother name is Sam Vincent.
Sam, right.
The first rounder in my year too. He was in the Aloha Classic. We played against him as well.
Yeah, and then he played Michael Jordan's mom in a commercial. Sam Vincent. He wore a wig, put on a dress. Remember that?
I didn't see
a commercial. That. Yeah, there was a commercial. He's the one who pretended to be Michael Jordan's mom because he played with him on the Bulls, right?
He sure did. He went to Michigan State. Him and Jay both went to Michigan State.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Together with Magic.
Yeah, Spartan.
Same school.
So
the NBA dream, what happened to that? I mean, after the Mavericks, did they cut you, or did your contract just expire? What happened over there? And then what happened? How come you weren't able to latch on to any other team?
I played after playing with the Mavericks, we lost in the playoffs to the Lakers, and then in the draft, they drafted Mark Price. So when I talked to the Mavericks, my agent and I was asking for some guaranteed money to show that they had interest in me, and I was understanding that Mark Price was going to have a guaranteed contract. And when they didn't offer me any money, because I only asked for like $20,000 up front just to show that they really felt that they wanted me. When they said they wasn't going to give me any money up front, and they said that I had to make the team to get a guaranteed contract, I took the money from the Philippines. I left. That was it. I didn't go to the veteran camp because
how did you hear about that? Yeah,
Andy Howe came to get me.
Okay. That's the story.
He came to San Francisco, and he's the one that said, "Hey, you should come to the Philippines," because he came there. He called and he said he was going to come by. We got a group of guys to play, and some of my city ball guys came there. John Smith and Brett Crawford, who passed away, and Richard Morden and Riley LaFleur. These are Joe Belfry, Dean May. These are guys who I played with in San Francisco all the time. And Andy came over to a gym called Sunset Gym, and we all played over there. He asked me where we should play at. That's where I set it up at, and I had the guys come over.
Well, prior to meeting Andy Howe, did you ever hear about the Philippines before from anybody else?
Yes, because Don Robinson and Francois played there. So that's who I had heard from, because they from San Francisco, and we played in the Pro-Am, me and Don. I never played against Francois. He's older than I am. And then he ended up going to Long Beach State and started going overseas. So I didn't see him anymore. He had a younger brother named Pierre Wise, who was closer to my age. And he was a very dominant player in San Francisco. Growing up, he was one of the best players in the city. But their whole family, they had Willie Wise, who played in the ABA. They had Shambrick and Brian Wise and Jaha Wilson. And they had a lot of cousins. They're the most popular family in San Francisco of all time. They had like 8 players that came out of there.
Wow.
Actually, Francois' son played in the PBA as well.
Yeah.
Eric Wise.
Francois.
Which one?
Eric Wise.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He played in the PBA maybe 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I didn't know that.
They're a father son.
One of my
even
boys,
his daughter
is their family also. He played at Santa Clara, but he was a football player, but he's a very good guy.
Yeah, even Francois' daughter came over to play pro volleyball here in the Philippines.
Wow.
So he's got ties with the Philippines.
Yes.
Ties with the Philippines.
Well, it's Bonita. Bonita played here for quite a bit.
If you finish our interview with him, both of them make a cameo appearance
right in the middle of the show. And Bonita was born here in the Philippines, right?
Yes, she was. She
Was
was.
born here while
Wow, okay.
Francois was
Yeah.
playing here in 1982. His wife gave birth here in Makati Medical Center, and
Their oldest daughter.
That was their eldest daughter.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's the
So-
story
so-
about it.
Hey, Charlie, I had told you one of my cousins, Troy Daniels, his mom was Filipino. She came from the Philippines. My uncle Eric was in the military at Clark Air Force Base, and he brought Troy's mom back, and Troy was born. And he said he went to play in the Philippines. I saw a couple pictures of him. I forgot what team he played for though.
Yeah, I was looking into that, so I'll let you know if I find anything on that one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So 86 happens. Andy Howe comes into your gym and then watches you and then makes an offer. What made you bite? What made you say, okay, let's go?
I felt like I had heard, first of all, I had heard about playing in the Philippines, and Francois and Don had really liked playing over there. And I wasn't sure about the situation with the Mavericks. So when I got the offer, I said, I'm going to take this sure money instead of going and maybe get cut and maybe not make the team. This was something that was sure. And I knew I could go there and work on my game and then get ready for the NBA. And I ended up not playing in the NBA ever again. But I did go back to camp twice. I went to camp in Orlando Magic camp when the team opened. And I went to camp with Minnesota Timberwolves camp when they both opened. And very few of us got invited back. I got invited back to both of those camps, to the veteran camp, but it was the same situation. And by then I was playing in France, and, I was making good money over there, and, the money overseas, tax-free and everything. And I had been doing good, and I liked it over there as opposed to sitting on the bench. I was, more like a star and had met friends over there, and the teams liked me, and I liked it over there. So I continued to play overseas, and I ended up playing until I was 40 years old. So I'm very happy with my career.
Prior to coming to the Philippines, have you ever been on a plane ride that long? I mean, that's a 12-hour flight from San Francisco to the Philippines.
What
was that like?
When I was in college at Santa Clara, we went on a trip to Japan. And we played in Japan for about a month. And we played in Matsumoto and Kyoto. And we had a very good time. And that was my first time getting a passport. So after going over there with the team and everybody, it made me more comfortable going overseas by myself because I kind of understood the situation and the immigrations and passport and that type of thing. So that was a little bit experience for me.
But what was it like when you landed at the Manila International Airport in this freaking hot country?
And it was my first time getting off the plane. I'm going there. I don't know nobody in the whole Philippines. I'm thinking, okay, what now? And I get off the plane, then there's a guy with a sign that said Keeling. And I knew that this was the place for me right away. So, what's interesting? He passed away now, but I rode over there with Rob Williams.
Yes.
And I had saw him play with Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler and Michael Young.
Right.
So
Phi Slama Jama.
Phi Slama Jama, yes, exactly. So he had said some good things about the Philippines that he had heard too. And we both were excited to play over there in the Philippines and play against each other.
You had some nice battles against each other, you and Rob.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So,
hey, while you talking about that, I want to mention that we never lost in the Philippines except for one team. We beat everybody else in the whole Philippines except for the team with Michael Hackett and Billy Ray Bates.
That's right.
And Michael Hackett ended up playing in Venezuela too. So I was happy to be able to return the favor to him because they beat us in the championship.
I remember that because I was a Tanduay fan. My family, we were cheering for Tanduay. They had won the first 2 championships that year, but you're the guys who knocked them out. You knocked them out with the last second shot of Michael Young, 3-pointer from the top of the key, knocked out Tanduay. So that hurt, man. That hurt. But I did cheer for you guys in the finals, though.
Yeah, they had a good team. And they started out with Eric Turner, and then they had Ricky Brown. They played for Tanduay.
That was great taste.
Great taste. That's great taste.
That's great taste.
Tanduay had
Rob Williams and
Andy Thompson.
Andy Thompson.
Andy Thompson replaced Benny Anderson. What's that?
Klay Thompson from the Warriors. That's his
own. Yeah. We had Andy on the show.
We had Andy on the show like a month
He
ago.
worked for the NBA. He do all the camera work for the NBA.
That's right. He did the last dance with Michael Jordan, right? So.
He was our guest. He was our guest here like a month ago. He guested on the show a month ago. It's short guesting, but he was here a month ago as well.
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
He's been working for the NBA for a long time, like over 20 years.
That's right.
No,
That's right. He joined them
I just wanted
shortly
to get
after.
I just want to get a sense of what you were feeling when you landed in Manila. I mean, the culture is completely different. It's different from Japan, that's for sure. You see all of these cars that aren't supposed to be on this side of the road, but they're all traveling. You know, it's like total chaos. So, what was your impression like when you landed in Manila and said, "All right, so this is the Philippines"?
Yeah, you know, Noel, it was a third world country, and it was the biggest thing that I brought from the Philippines is how good the people treated me and how the fans were excited. It was 10,000 people at every single game. Every game was full. Another thing that I never experienced overseas before was we all played at the same gym. All the teams played at the same gym. So we saw the Americans, and every game was on TV, so I could watch the team who I was going to play next. And then I started getting close to my friends. The girl at the hotel, her name was Sonia. She did everything at whatever me and Michael needed. She helped us out, and we had a driver. His name was Ernie. I remember it like yesterday. Ernie came to pick us up for the practice every day. Then I had another friend named Maria. Her brother played on the team out there, and Annalie and Bessie. They worked at like Mart. What's Mart? It's a big grocery. It's a big store. It was across the street from Ali Mall. I forgot the name. It's the
Shoemart.
He used to work at Shoemart, and I met them, and then we went to Michael and I went shopping like every day. We bought like 20 suits tailor-made with our name on the inside of them. We had tailor-made lizard skin shoes and snake skin shoes and the belt to match, and we had an awesome time over there. It was so fun. And, you know, our dollar, it went far. You know, the peso against the dollar was a good situation for us. So we'd take Ernie with us everywhere we go. We go eat. He go eat. He was my guy. I hope that Ernie was able to watch this or somebody tells him I'm on here. He was one of
where'd you used to go? I mean, where'd you used to stay, and where'd you used to go when you weren't on the court?
I went to I stayed at Legazpi Village. It was a hotel there, and it was a mini mall right across the street from Legazpi Village. And then you know, Michael and I would go to the shopping to get the material for us to get suits made, and we went to the sweatsuit place to get sweatsuits, and there was a big old poster of Francois Wise on the place where we got the sweatsuits. I saw that. I was like, wow, this dude must have been the man over here.
He was for a bit,
sweatsuits with our name on them and letters on them and initials on them. And then we got tennis shoes made from Grosby, had our name on them. And we were on TV.
Wow.
You guys, that was Grosby's. That's Grosby's time.
Yeah.
All of you had Grosby shoes.
Yeah.
Hey, your friend Annalie's watching. She said, "Thank you for shout out."
Who's that?
Annalie, your friend Annalie's is watching. Annalie, she said, "Thank you for the shout out."
Annalie Salazar and her husband and family. I'm glad you're watching. I hope your family is doing okay.
And Sean Chambers was watching also a while ago. I don't know if he's still watching until now. So anyway, so you're here in the Philippines.
Philippines, he is the ultimate.
Yeah. He became a resident here, man. He stayed here for like over.
Yeah. You know the legend. You know the legend of Sean Chambers, though, Harold. Do you know the legend of Sean Chambers?
Tell me about it.
He actually ran after a thief who tried to steal his bag, and he ran after him in Makati. That's like stuff of legend.
And I think he got him, right?
He got him. He got him. Yeah. That's the legend of Sean Chambers.
Sean is a competitor. Sean probably didn't even have nothing in the bag. He just don't want nobody to beat him.
He had like $200 or something like that.
Nothing in the bag, huh? So you guys, your imports are known to be treated really very well when they come to the Philippines. So you said you stayed in a nice condominium probably, and then you had a driver, you had somebody helping you out all the time. But as far as offers from other countries at the time, was the Philippines really the best offer for an import at the time for you?
For me, it was because I hadn't decided if I was going to camp or not, or what I was going to do. So when Andy offered me the opportunity, I jumped at the chance. I was kind of excited the whole time. I was already in shape and everything, and I was ready to go. So, and I'm very glad that I ended up going there. It turned out to be really nice. I had a fantastic experience. Me and Michael Young got close. Michael Young and I, we were always together over there.
Yeah.
And Michael came home, and his wife and him had a baby. named him Michael. And I was in Houston. That's when we went to the game.
Mhm.
So after that, I came back and me and my wife had a baby because I told Michael, okay, now, Michael, you didn't show me how to do this. Now I'm going to go home and have a Michael too. And then I named my kid Michael, and Michael was his godparent. And we
Oh
went
wow, okay,
Wow.
that's
to,
great.
my oldest son, his name is Michael Harold Keeling.
Wow.
Oh,
But you
okay.
guys, you guys played so well together. You were a perfect combination. It's just I think you would have in any other tournament you would have won the championship. It just so happened
Yeah.
you ran into that wall of Bates and Hackett, and it's pretty tough for you guys. But
Charlie,
you guys were great.
sometime, Charlie, there were games, Michael and I both scored over 50 points.
That's right.
And we
Mhm.
still lost.
Yeah.
And then I was
Game
so
one.
mad after
Game
we
one.
lost
Game one of the finals.
One game in the finals, we both scored 50, and I
That's
was
game
in the
one.
car, and Michael said, "Well, Harold, I don't know what else we can do," and I didn't, because I hadn't said nothing for like 15 minutes. I was just steaming. I mean, you could see the steam coming out of my head because Billy Ray Bates and Michael Hackett, they beat us again, and Michael said, "There's nothing else we can do, Harold. We both scored 50." I said, "Michael, there's one more thing we can do. We can win." We didn't win. We scored 50. We still lost. He said, "Well, how many we got to score?" I don't know, Michael. We got to win. That's what they brought us here for. We went this whole season. We can't go home a loser. We got to win. Michael said, "Okay, look, give me the ball every time next game. I'm going to make sure we win." Michael had like 65 or something.
Yeah. That guy's a special talent.
That dude
60 points
play,
in the
man.
game.
I don't know why he didn't play more in the NBA. He was a fantastic talent. You know, he led his team in scoring when Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon was on the team. Michael Young was the leading scorer of Phi Slamma Jamma.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
The nice lefty jumper.
When I was in college at Santa Clara, we played in the Houston Cougars tournament. And Michael and Clyde and Hakeem was in the tournament. And when we finished playing, the coaches and everybody on our team was upstairs buying Phi Slamma Jamma shirts. I was so embarrassed.
That's crazy, man. But Michael Young, you guys clicked right away. I mean, that was the first time you met him, or had you met him already back in the States prior to that?
No, I met him in college when we played in the tournament.
Oh, okay. So, but you guys weren't friends. So now suddenly you're thrust together in practice, and then you guys, I think, made a decision that you guys are gonna, you gotta team up so you can bring up this team, Manila Beer.
That's right.
And try to be the best. But right now, just to take a short break, we're going to talk about your stint here in the Philippines. Already, let's get into it. Talk about the players, coaches, and everything. We'd just like to remind everybody that an eternity of basketball is part of the Globally Ballin Network, which also has now Who the Heck Are We? Check out their latest episode, the PBA mock draft with Randolph Leongson, and then Hang Time with Denise Densai, recent episode 26 with Kai Baloaloa. Check that one out. That's volleyball, and then Globally Ballin Network. Everything over there you see on your screens. You have to see the audio and video projects and original articles. Of course, we are part of the Globally Ballin Network, and we're on YouTube. So you need to go and subscribe to our channel, episodes 1 to 40, only on YouTube starting tomorrow, March 14. We're on Spotify as well. Listen to us on the go, anytime, anywhere, and check out the Linktree/Globally Ballin link for all of that. That takes you to all of those links. And as usual, after the break, Sid Ventura is missing.
I know. Why does he do that?
but so we're still here with Harold Keeling. This is episode 72 of AOB, and we've arrived in the Philippines now. We're talking about how the career of Harold Keeling was one conference here in the PBA, but a memorable one. The fans remember you, Harold, because of how much of a gladiator you were. You would really fight, leave it all out on the court. There was a time you were on screen. They were showing you close up, and you were weeping on the bench. You were crying because I guess you were so frustrated about something during one of those games. And that's the kind of player you were. You wore your emotions on your sleeve. But do you remember that? Do you remember why you were crying on the court, on the bench rather?
Charlie, that might have been sweat coming down my face, man. It was so hot out there. It was burning. It had to be like 100 degrees in the gym. After the practice, I'd take my jersey off and wring it out. It'd be like a puddle of water on the floor. It was burning up out there.
Yeah. So
we didn't even lose that many games.
Yeah. What's your impression of the team? What was your impression of the team? The guys that you met. You had Atoyko, who was a former MVP. You had Abet, Yeah.
We had
Yo-Yo.
Adonis. We had Yo-Yo Viamin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about these guys? First time you're in practice, you're seeing these guys go through the scrimmage and everything. What are you thinking? You're seeing these guys.
We had a good team. Playing in the Philippines, you have to do a lot of things. You got to get rebounds and assists and play defense. Yo-Yo Viamin was a guy who he helped guard some of the imports because he was a very strong guy. And then we had Abid Gadab, he was playing center, but he was very thin. But he would guard guys like Fernandez played for the Shell. And
For
Tanduay. Fernandez was with Tanduay. Cesar was with Shell. With Shell.
Okay. And then we had Atoy Cole. He could shoot. He was one of the best shooters on the team. I remember we ran a play, and it was the last of the game, and we were supposed to give the ball to Michael. And Atoy Cole, who he had been hot the whole series, he took the shot and missed it, and he was supposed to give it to Michael Young. And after the game, we looked at him in the locker room, and he came over to me and Michael and said, "Hey, if I make this shot, I'm a hero." And Michael said, "But you missed." He said, "Yeah, but if I would have made it, I would have been a superstar." I said, "Oh, no."
No, he's always been confident about his shooting.
He was a good shooter, though.
Yeah. I remember when we had Norman Black on the show, he remembered, but Atoy Cole would have a wide open layup, nobody in front of him. He'd pull up from 15 feet instead of just taking the layup. That's how confident he was about his shooting.
I think besides Sean Chambers, I think I bring up Michael Young. And after that, I bring up Norman Black's name more than anybody's because he stayed there. He married Miss Filipino. He didn't come home. And, we always go on cruises. And when I go on a cruise, it's a lot of Filipino guys working on the cruise. And I talk to them and tell them I played there. I used to wear my jersey on the cruise, or my son would wear the jersey on the cruise. And then I tell them, and some of them say, "Hey, I remember you, Keeling. You played with Manila Beer and Michael Young," and then we take pictures together.
That's great.
It's always funny. And then we talk about, I named Norman Black and Sam Boy Lim and Sean Chambers and some of the most popular guys that was over there. All of them know Jaworski, and so it's always kind of fun to do that. They kind of look up to me and get excited to meet me and take
well, on that Manila Beer team, you actually had 3 eventual players who got named among the best players in league history. You had Abid Gadabin, Atoy Cole, and there's this other guy by the name of Lim Eng Beng. You remember this guy?
I don't remember him. Was he a younger guy?
No, he was
one of the veterans. He's a Chinese guy.
Wow.
Chinese guy on the team.
What position was he?
Yeah, he didn't. He was a point guard. He didn't play much anymore back in that
at the time,
1986. He didn't play much. That was his last season in the PBA.
Okay. But among the locals, I mean, who did you really bond with on the team?
On my team?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see each other too much besides the practice. A couple times we went to the provinces, and I really liked that. We got in the pool, and there was a big pig on the pole, and it just going around and around until we get ready to eat it. That was something different for me. I never saw that before in my life.
That's a lechon.
We just ate everything over there, and we stayed there from the morning until it got dark and got in the pool. And by the time we got out, our fingers were wrinkled, and we had such a tremendous time. So many trees and getting in the water and everything.
Yeah.
We had that was a bonding time for us. Another thing we did that was bonding for us. We played against Clark Air Force Base, and we played against them sometime in the preseason to get ready. And it was kind of cool playing against other Americans. And then we go eat with them in the mess hall with the other Americans. But it was kind of cool kicking their butt because only Michael and I were the only Americans. But it was interesting that we was always able to beat them. It was kind of cool.
Harold, we have a bunch of photos we'd like to show you. Take us through whatever you remember, the memories. Let's see the first photo.
Okay, Charlie, be careful. All right, Charlie, don't put nothing crazy up there.
So this is you. This is you. You're blocking this guy. I know this guy. I think became a star later on, but you blocked his shot.
Yeah.
That guy was pretty good. He was pretty good. But he ran into a good guy too. So that was Michael Jordan when he was in college. Me and Michael played against each other twice in college. And hey, Ashley. When we played him the freshman year, it was in my Christmas tournament at Santa Clara. And the all-tournament team was Worthy, Sam Perkins, Jordan, Bill Duffy. And then in my sophomore year, this is my sophomore year, me and Michael went head up. And I was doing Michael at first. People don't believe me half of the time. But like this shot, I blocked this shot. But he and in the second half, he got hot and
Yeah.
started being Michael. And then not
Wow.
only that, every time I went to the basket, Michael started pushing up on me, make me go to the basket. And then Sam Perkins was behind him, and another guy named Brad Doherty. You guys remember him?
Number one pick.
Exactly. So it got real difficult for me at that point. It was like they went in the locker room, and Dean Smith told him not to let me score no more baskets, and it was difficult.
Yeah, but this
Well,
picture's a classic. You need to have a copy of this picture on your wall, right? Because
Yeah, I got
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, when the picture happened, it wasn't a big. I mean, Michael was one of the best players in the country, but he wasn't the greatest player of all time. So by the time I saw it in the newspaper the next morning, I didn't even really save it. I was kind of mad because before the game I was thinking about playing against him, and I said, okay, if I do Michael Jordan, then for sure I can go pro, and everybody will know, and Dick Vitale will talk about me and all of this. And then in the second half, it just didn't work out. So I didn't really think about keeping the picture. And then when Michael started doing all these things, a lot of times I thought about saying, man, I wish I had that picture. I was blocking Mike's shot. I didn't even tell nobody because I didn't think anybody would believe me. But last year when Christian Keeling was playing at North Carolina, somebody sent this to his Instagram. And then he sent it to me. And that's the first time I saw the picture was last year. I was happy that he's found it somehow.
That's right.
Yeah, well, this is Michael Jordan still wearing Converse at the time, so I guess that must have helped.
And we were wearing New Balance at the time. That's the same shoes James Worthy used to wear in the NBA with the Lakers.
I had a pair of those.
The Worthy Express. The Worthy Express, right? That was the name.
Just to let you guys know, this is about what is this 1982, 1983? Nike wasn't a big brand at the time. Adidas was the big brand at the time.
Right.
Adidas and Converse, yeah.
But looking at the photo, he already had that tongue sticking out.
Already, yeah.
Okay.
Who knew that he was going to be the guy that he turned out to be?
That's right. That's right.
Because in college, he was the best player, but he wasn't. It wasn't an enormous difference between him and everybody else. They said the only person in the world who could stop Michael from scoring 20 points was Dean Smith.
Dean Smith, yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's what they said. When you put him on the bench, that's it, right?
Right. Hey, that's also how I met Sam Perkins. We played against them twice. And then when we ended up playing with the Mavericks, we talked about playing them. And then, he bragged all the time about us.
Big Smooth. Yeah.
Smooth, yeah. What's the next photo? Let's see. Let's move on. Here you go. That's Terry Porter, your fellow draft mate in 85.
Yeah. Me and Terry Porter, we played together in the Aloha Classic. Me, him, and Detlef were all tournament. And then we were rookies together. That's our rookie year, obviously. And it was good playing against Terry. He had a fantastic career. And it's kind of interesting because me and Terry was about the same when we was in college. And then his career went one way and mine went to the Philippines.
Not too bad, man. That's not too bad.
I'm just surprised. You got a picture of Terry Porter with hair.
That was
yeah, actually.
And he was.
I'm really proud of Terry. He's a very nice guy, and we was roommates when we played in the Aloha Classic. We were in Hawaii together, and we were both dating high school sweethearts at the time. But anyway, my high school sweetheart, her name was Marilyn. He ended up marrying his high school sweetheart, and then I got married later on to a lady in Venezuela named Anna Lynn. Then after that, I got married to a lady named Michelle and another lady named Karen. I guess that's all my whole career as far as my girls. So anyway.
Surprised you didn't talk about anyone from the Philippines.
You weren't here long enough.
Yeah, man. It takes a little longer than one season, I guess.
Yeah, what's the next?
Yeah, this guy, Wisconsin Stevens Point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wisconsin Stevens Point. Great career.
Yep. You wore Harold. You wore 24 at Santa Clara, and then you wore 43 in Dallas. Any significance on those numbers, or were just the numbers given to you? That's why you wore them.
Man, we came in there the rookies for the Mavericks, and they put the jerseys on us, and we played in the rookie camp, and then we played in the veteran camp, and we played in those tournaments. So I wore that jersey right there in the preseason in the veteran camp. So I ended up wearing it again when I played with.
So no special reason for that. Okay.
No special reason. Hey, I was 24 in college, but when I got to the Mavericks. Mark Aguirre was
Mark
24.
Aguirre,
Yeah,
right?
Mark had
Right.
that. Yeah.
That didn't work out.
All right.
Yeah.
What's next
Let's
on
see. What's
the gallery? Here's the one against the Lakers.
Yes, this is when
You
I
got
told
him.
you that Derek Harper called a players only meeting, and we played them and we beat them, and it was on the front page. Not the front page of the sports. That was on the front page of the whole paper. So me and Derek walking off, and we won, and Magic is walking out. I'm probably thinking about trying to kick our butt the next game, but we got him on that night, and that felt kind of good. You know, my whole family watched it on TV, and they saw us, and I was pretty excited.
Then you got Baby B on the left. That's Byron Scott.
Yes.
Walking away also. He's married to a
right.
Filipina, by the way, Harold.
He what?
Byron Scott's married to a Filipina.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I met his wife at the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, that's why he was here 2 years ago. He came over during one of the games.
Right.
I had a picture with him at halftime, so I was thrilled because
Yeah.
Lakers, you know.
I remember when we first played them in this series, and I saw his car parked out in front of the gym at the Forum. It said the number 4, B. Scott, and it was a 450 SL with no top.
Wow.
I was like, wow, this is what the NBA is all about right here.
Yep.
You could have pissed on
Scott.
his wheel or something like that, like we do in the Philippines.
Hey, Philippines, you know, we could ride to the game in the jeepney.
Yeah. Everybody has
tell
to
us
ride.
about-
All the imports need to ride the
Yeah.
jeepney, right?
Yeah, everybody got to ride a jeepney at least once in their life.
And
It
you
was
gotta
raining.
eat
We was on the
You gotta
jeepney and
eat
it
a
started
Jollibee.
raining. The water was up to the front stair, and I didn't know how to get off and get without getting wet. Well, everybody got wet. It was raining so hard.
Yeah. Well, you also got to eat a Jollibee, right?
Jollibee. I'm sure you had Jollibee.
Yeah.
Did you ever? Did they feed you the balut when you were over here?
Yeah, that's
know the
rites
balut?
of passage.
What is the
That's
blue?
rites
Egg.
of passage.
It's the egg
It's
with
a
the
duck
chicken
egg.
inside.
Oh yeah, I declined to go ahead and eat
Duckling.
on that. I remember eating at the hotel in Legazpi Village though. Every day we come home, me and Michael would drink Tang, like the whole pitcher.
Tang. Hey, there's different flavors of Tang now. It's not just orange.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
Every day when we walk in the hotel, they would play. We would drink the Tang, and it was a song. You are everything to me. They played that song every day in the Philippines over there in the hotel.
Okay, what's next on the photo? There you
Oh, here
go.
we
Here you go.
There, look at you. You and Michael
Is
Young
that
with Alan
Adonis?
Dale.
Okay,
Alan Dale.
got the
Yeah,
donuts
that's
right there.
Yeah.
And then
Adonis.
the picture in the middle is me, obviously. And the picture on the left with me and Michael Young, the
Yeah.
guy behind us is Francois Wise.
Right.
That's the picture of Francois. When I saw that, I was like, wow, Francois is the man out here. So,
Alan Dale was a very popular
One
brand.
block
for
away
uniform.
from him. Then I go over on the other side of the globe, on the other side of the world, and see a big old picture of him. I was like, wow, he the man.
Yeah, Adonis is still active in the PBA right now. He's an assistant coach in one of the teams. And he
All
doesn't
right.
look anything like this right now. Seriously.
Please tell Nymphus I said hello.
We will. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
we'll
this looks
tell
like
him.
his grandson. That's
And then-
what Adonis looks like now.
All
And then we
right.
grandfather
notice
of this
here.
guy.
We notice here all of a sudden you're number one. Did you choose number one?
I did.
You did. Okay.
They asked me what number. I said, let's go with number 1.
All right.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's Michael Young. My God, look at that body he had on, man. He was such a big, strong guy.
Yeah, he was left-handed. He could shoot NBA three-point shot.
Yeah.
He was damn good, Michael Young. He was the best import during that, but you led the league in steals and assists in that tournament
Right.
that you were here.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I think Michael averaged like 50 points or something. I think I averaged 35.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You were up to 35. That's right.
Yeah, and
Like I said, sometimes we both scored 50. And
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
game
in
one
the
of the
finals.
finals.
Mhm.
right.
We need to
I
talk about that
remember.
finals, though, right? What's that, Sid? Go ahead.
Yeah. No, yeah, I just remember when Michael Young was named the best import. Of course, the Ginebra fans were
Booed it.
really
Booing.
furious.
They
Yeah,
didn't
they were
like that.
furious. Yeah,
They wanted Billy Ray Bates to get it.
Right.
Billy
I
Ray
thought Michael
Bates.
Young was the best player in the country.
Mhm.
He probably was at that conference.
Yeah.
He probably was.
Yeah, during that time, yeah. Because Billy Ray was still awesome, but he wasn't as dominating as he was when he first came. in
Yeah, and
83.
Michael Hackett scored 103 points in one game.
Yeah,
So that's
oh
going
my
to steal
goodness.
some of his thunder. Right?
That dude was strong.
Uh-huh.
Michael Hackett.
Yeah. He's a strong guy, man. And people loved him. 103 points. Come on, no 3-pointers
Right.
there.
Wow.
Yeah. But he was padding his rebounds in that game. He had like 30 rebounds in that game. He was padding. He was missing some.
Probably.
He was doing a
45,
Moses Malone.
45.
He was missing on
Yeah.
purpose, like Moses
He was
Malone
missing
would
on
do.
purpose. They had 103 points and like
Yeah.
30 rebounds.
That's incredible.
45 rebounds, Noel. Yeah, 45.
45 rebounds. Thank you very much.
Same game,
45
same game.
rebounds.
103.
Guys,
Stat line
you know,
was 103-45.
Even if that series against Ginebra, the final series against Ginebra was just it didn't go the distance. It was
Game 6.
4-1, right? 4-1.
Yeah,
But
4-1.
that was quite a series because you were in it in all the games, Harold. Even the 4 games that you lost, you were either leading or really close, and then Ginebra pulled it out at the end. They beat you on a last second dunk in game number 1. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The last second dunk of Billy Ray Bates.
That's right.
That must have hurt. That must have hurt. I mean,
That did hurt.
You played well. You were up by 20, I think, earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Yes. You both scored 50.
That's kind of crazy. You both of you scored 50 and you lose.
Yeah.
That's a
I
tough
don't
one.
think that's ever
At the
happened.
last second, that probably hurts even more.
At the buzzer, yes.
Yeah. Well,
that was an interesting series because we after playing the whole season, we kind of knew that we was going to end up playing against them in the final.
Mhm.
And
You're
then
the 2 best teams.
it was kind of difficult because Billy Ray and Michael were both amazing players, and Billy Ray was scoring a lot of points, so we had to make a decision on whether I was going to guard him or if we allowed one of the Filipino guys to guard him, and then he would score a lot of points. But when the one game that I did guard him, then I ended up getting in foul trouble. So we said, we can't do that anymore because then we'll hurt on the offensive end. So it put us in a dilemma. Billy Ray had played in the NBA several years, and I felt comfortable guarding him. But with so many possessions in the Philippines and him going to the basket every time, the whistles was blowing kind of quick, and it wouldn't be a good situation. Now I fouled out and left Michael out there by himself. So he ended up beating us.
And you know how it is over here. We talked about your 35 points a game, your 2-point-something steals, your 7.5 assists. But the great stat in your stat line is 46.4 minutes per game.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was in shape pretty much.
So you were basically in the game the entire time.
Exactly, and I was running.
That's how the imports are here. You play the whole damn game.
Yeah, and this was before the advent of Gatorade. So how did you stay hydrated through the entire game?
I tried to run a fast break every play so we wouldn't have to run no offense. We just tried to run a fast break and score before the other team got down there, and we just ran the whole time and hoped that they would get tired before us, and most of the teams did.
Yeah. Well, you did have an obvious job in
score a basket before Jaworski came and tried to bust me in my head because he always trying to foul me.
Next photo, please. Let's see the next photo. There's the shoes.
If you shoes, they had my name on it. I was pretty excited about having my name in my own shoes. It was I felt like I was important.
That's right. Yeah, if you can zoom that in, I don't know if we can, but it actually says Harold Keeling right near the strap over there. So no, near the logo. Near the logo, it says Harold Keeling. So it's the Grosby Harold Keelings.
Nobody in the United States knew about those shoes, so I brought those shoes back to the United States and wore them to the gym. And I thought people were going to laugh at me. About 5 guys in the gym asked me, "Hey, get me a pair." I was like, "Man, those in the Philippines. I can't get you no pair of these."
Yeah, there you go.
There you see Harold Keeling by the logo.
Yeah. Yep.
Down straight down by the logo.
Man, I was super excited to have my name on a pair of tennis shoes.
Do you still have these shoes?
Man.
Do you still have these shoes to this day? This must have some
value.
I
don't have them anymore. Actually, I had given them to my stepdad. He had the last pair.
But were they comfortable though during the games?
They were comfortable. I had a good time to play with them.
That's the important thing.
They had the strap around the ankles that gave me some support too.
All right.
Because this
too
could
bad
go
Grosby
for
no longer exists.
Exactly. But this could go 4 figures on eBay, really.
Grosby.
These are game-worn Grosbys.
That's right.
Of course, the first import to have his own signature Grosby shoes was Billy Ray Bates.
Yeah, that's right. The thing.
The Black Superman.
Yeah, the Black Superman line.
That's right. Hey, Harold, you need to tell us about the opponent. And we talked about Hackett and Bates already, but Ginebra as a team, What do you remember? I mean, I know they were ultra physical. You mentioned Chito Loizaga before we went on the air. Tell us
Right.
about what you remember about Chito and the way their style
Well,
of play.
we have a photo actually of
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Tito
I
getting
mean,
into it.
there was one photo I was like yelling in his face, and he didn't back down. He just kept hitting me and fouling me and pushing me, and then Jaworski was fouling and hit me. I mean, they did everything they could to take me out of my game. I stayed focused, and they was trying to make sure I didn't score 50 every game, but I did the best I could. We just didn't. We ended up not winning that series. They got us at the end, but they had a tough team. They had some quality players, and they were kind of deep, and both of the Americans were good players, and it was a tough series for us to win.
Did you know
So
that
Jaworski gave you a karate chop too, right? Jaworski
He gave me several of them, and I don't know. I think he thought that was legal, but the rest like the rest was his cousin or something. They didn't call a whole lot of fouls on him.
That's funny.
He had to be like 40 years old or something.
I was going to say he was 40 years old. He was 40 years old.
He was 40 when I was 20.
He scored 28 points. He scored 28 points in game 2 with 6 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And he played in the game 4 to double overtime game. He played the entire game. The only guys who played the entire game were the 4 imports and the 40-year-old Sonny Jaworski.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And he just turned 75 last Monday.
He probably can play at least about 5 minutes right now.
Yeah,
Probably.
we wouldn't be surprised.
Do you know that he played until 1998?
Oh man.
He coached his own son.
Something.
He coached his own son. His son became his
He drafted his own son.
98. So he had to be like 54 or something, right?
Yeah, he was 52,
52,
I think, at the time.
52.
Oh man.
Yeah, 52.
That's awesome.
Crazy,
He's in the Guinness Book of World Records as the oldest professional player.
I would say
Is he?
I think he's in the Guinness Book. Yeah.
There's Coach Tito.
Okay.
Coach Tito Eduque. Rest his soul.
Tito.
What are your impressions about him? The man in white. Remember, he's
Man in white.
Yes, he was always in white. He looked like he was the ice cream man. You know, in the United States, the ice cream man wear all white. We used to go eat dinner sometime at a nice restaurant. He was a nice guy. We sat and talked sometime. He was a businessman.
Yeah.
What about his coaching? How was he as a coach?
I really liked the fact that he just let me do whatever I wanted to do. So we set up the plays and run the fast break, and I'd tell people where to go and throw the ball to whoever's hot and let them make baskets. Our offense was high powered. We probably led the league in scoring on offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very believable.
Just looking at this picture, it sort of brings back memories of how intense the look of Michael Young was whenever he'd be playing on the floor. I mean, he was like
Harold Keeling as well. As well.
Harold was more like you knew he was going to pass first before he was going to shoot. Michael was just going to shoot, right? So you know Harold was going to pass the ball at some point. Michael wasn't.
You know, Michael. You when you give it to Michael, you know you're not getting it back, right?
Go for the rebound. You got to go for the rebound in case it misses.
Exactly.
Yeah, but look at you. Look at the young kid number 1 there, man. That's a young kid there.
Yeah, man. I'm sitting here looking at that. It's bringing back a lot of memories.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you ate at the restaurant of Tito Eduque's.
Yes, absolutely. We ate there several times.
Kamayan and all of that.
Kamayan, there you go. Kamayan restaurant. It's still around. Kamayan's
still around.
Kamayan's still around.
All right.
Okay. What's next on the album? I know there's a bunch. There you are. Action. That's against Tanduay. There's Rob Williams on your left.
Right.
Left side.
And then the other one
is Dexter Shouse.
Rob passed away. After we came back from the Philippines, Rob came over to my house and spent the night, and before he went back to Houston.
Oh, okay.
Rob had a business over there. He was selling some shoes, and he got them imported from Philippines and would sell them in Houston.
Wow.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He must have made a killing.
For a few years.
Yeah, because the Philippines makes really good shoes.
Yes,
that's just so crazy that Rob never got to come back. You never got to come back to the Philippines after that great 1986 season.
Right. I wanted to come back too, but then sometimes they only had one American, and then they had only one American 6'6", and then after that I started playing in Israel for 10 months at a time, and France for 9 or 10 months. So the Philippines only matched up really with Venezuela because Venezuela was January until June or July, and the Philippines session I went to was like August till Christmas.
Yeah.
Like that.
Right. Among the locals here that you went up against the PBA, here's a picture with you against Mon Fernandez. You remember anybody who really gave you a tough time?
I think
on the left.
that's
That's Mon on the left.
Mon on the
I
left.
remember
Yeah.
Ramon Fernandez.
Okay.
Ramon always was guarding Abi Gadab, and they body structure was kind of the same. And then I remember Ricky Brown. You know, he played at Pepperdine University. I played at Santa Clara, so those two teams were in the same conference. And then I remember Sam Boy Lim. He used to dunk.
Right.
And he could jump really high. And I don't know if I saw any more Filipino guys dunk. He was. I think after that, Sean Chambers told me he was in the dunk contest against Sean.
Yeah, they called Sam Boy Lim the Skywalker.
Yeah.
I think Sam Boy Lim, did he play in the United States, I think?
No, he did not even have a tryout. Yeah. Samboy had a stroke a few years back, and he's in a wheelchair now.
Oh,
so
wow.
So he's still one of the greatest players we had here. So you don't remember anybody like giving you like the business of this is how we play in the Philippines. Welcome to my elbow, stuff like that. Here's my knee. No
way. That team, all of those guys was on Billy Ray Bates' team. Jaworski, Lozaga. Lozaga had a brother. One time down, Chito hit me. The next time down, Joey hit me. They was brothers. They took turns.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just doing what they needed to do, right?
Yeah. I was happy when we beat them sometime, though.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And Billy Ray Bates and Michael Hackett never touched you because they were for them.
They were trying not to get fouls. You know, Michael, he make sure he get his points, and Billy Ray too. So they didn't guard me. They guarded somebody who they didn't have to do a lot of work against.
Did you have any idea, Harold, that Manila Beer was about to fold up?
I didn't know nothing about it, but a couple years later, they told me that Manila Beer didn't exist anymore.
Yeah. That was actually their last conference with the year that you played, that tournament you played.
Yeah.
Next season came in '87. They weren't there anymore.
Right.
That was the last team of Manila Beer.
Yeah.
Hey, I know he's not. He wasn't born in Philippines, but I always remember people talking about Norman Black, and he married Miss Filipina and stayed there, and
he's still here.
He's still coaching the PBA now.
He's still coaching.
Yeah, he made a living over there.
He made the finals. He made the finals a couple of times past few seasons. For one of the teams.
He played for a team called Alaska Milk.
That's right. When you were there, yeah. But did
Johnny Ray Coons play for them too?
They played together.
Yes,
they were together. But then they replaced, when you were here, they replaced Donnie Ray because he was injured. So they brought in Keith Morrison.
That conference is actually pretty loaded in terms of the American reinforcements.
Right.
Forward on the right, there's Dexter Schaus with Shell. And then you guys, the Ginebra guys, Tanduay had Rob Williams.
You're right.
Andy Thompson.
Every game was a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Playing against Rob Williams, then playing against Dexter Schaus, and then later on
Alvin Franklin. You played against Alvin Franklin.
Alvin Franklin came over.
Eric Turner. You remember Eric Turner?
Yeah, Eric Turner. Yeah. He was replaced by Alvin Franklin, right?
Yeah, he was replaced by Alvin Franklin. And then
Lou Jackson was their big guy.
Louis Jackson, that's the name.
Hey, you remember Fred Reynolds was there?
Fred Reynolds.
He's with Dexter Schaus. Yeah, he was Reynolds.
He was replaced by Perry Young.
Because
Johnny Brown was there.
Who was that?
Johnny Brown.
Johnny Brown for Great Days, but he was replaced by Lou Jackson. Mm-hmm. And then you had Rufus Harris and Don Collins for Magnolia. Then Don Collins was replaced by Jim Banks. Mm-hmm.
Jim Banks,
Jim Banks replaced Don Collins.
That was a pretty good conference. And there were only 6 teams. 6 or 7 teams or 6 teams?
Six teams.
Yeah, but great. Good imports, good competition.
Right.
It was every game was a battle,
Yeah.
Every game was a battle.
And the old pro was rocking.
Right. And this was also after there was a change in power in the Philippines too. So it's like the new Philippines at the time. After this EDSA revolution, I don't know if you ever heard about that, the EDSA revolution that toppled the former regime and came in. So everybody was like, everything was the new Philippines. So you guys came in, it was like the new breed of basketball as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Starting to take off.
There's
Chico. Now, hey, we face to face right here, and I'm yelling at him. This is in the middle of the game. Somebody was dribbling the ball down court right past us.
And referees just let it go.
He's
Actually,
following me and grabbing me and trying to pull my trunks down and just anything to distract me.
I'll tell you a story about him, Harold. A few years later, he was on the Philippine national team to the Asian Games. He guarded a Korean guy who was 7'8". He was the one guarding Chito. Kept him out of the paint.
I believe
The guy was so frustrated he fouled out.
hey, he was strong too.
Yeah.
He used to bang quite a bit, and he was fearless.
No, there was a question on the here in our Facebook feed earlier. One of the guys was asking. There were times you and Chito Loizaga would be whispering things to each other. What were you telling him? Is what the question was. What would you say to Chito?
He said, "You can get up to me, but you can't hit me because if you get kicked out the game, they're gonna send you home." He said, I'm already at home. I can't get kicked out.
He was right though. So
he
had to
was.
keep her
They
cool.
send a lot of Americans home sometime if they didn't have good performance.
No, but we have to admire your composure. You kept your cool despite all that physicality that they were doing.
It didn't show in this picture on the right, though.
Yeah,
right
here.
Yeah, he looked like he about to get dunked on that one.
I wonder what Sonny Jaworski did to you on this drive on the left though. You were about to go up for a layup.
One time he went under me and I flipped over him and fell down, and I never tried to dunk on him ever again. That was it.
He sent you a message.
I'm surprised they didn't kick him out the game or something, but I guess the ref was used to him doing that to everybody else.
Yeah.
But
That was always his style.
Yeah, you notice he's not looking at the ball. He's looking somewhere in your torso where he's going to hit you.
Yeah, he's not thinking about going up by the rim. He's just going to hit my leg.
He wasn't going for the ball. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to hit him right in the solar plexus right here. No one's going to see it too.
Great. Okay, what's next? At least we see some of the action shots. That's nice. There you are.
This is after the Philippines.
That's got to be in Venezuela already, probably.
Venezuela, yeah. That team was really good. I ended up marrying a lady from Venezuela named Keeling, and we were married for 19 years, and my three kids were born over there. So all three of my kids were born in Venezuela, and we had a good time out there. I played out there in '87. I stopped playing there in 2004, and we won 5 championships. And I played we would have won at least 3 more championships. But the World Games and the South American Championships, we had to go right before the playoffs started. 2 of those years, I was on teams with Steven Jackson. He played for the Indiana, Charlotte. And we had another guy named Junior Burrow. He played he was a very good player too. He played in the NBA with the Celtics. And we have another guy, Omar Walcott, and he was born in Venezuela, and he had Venezuelan citizenship. So when I got Venezuelan citizenship, we had 5 Americans on the team because it was 3 Americans, and we just ran the whole league. The year I came, this year right here, I replaced Anthony Mason was playing there.
The late Anthony Mason.
We went on to win the championship, so it was pretty. I had a good time playing in Venezuela.
Was the atmosphere in Venezuela anything like the Philippines?
The fans were very similar. They sounded different, but the way they screamed and every game was sold out and people standing up, and that was a very warm atmosphere to play in, and I really enjoyed there. After I was playing in France for 4 years, I went to play in Venezuela. When I was playing in France, in Lyon, France, we won the championship. Then I went to play last 2 months in Venezuela in the summer. We won a championship. Then I came back to France, but I knew I was going to go to Venezuela. After that, I went to Venezuela. When my citizenship came, I never played anywhere else except for Venezuela.
Did you learn the language in Venezuela?
Yes, actually, I have been teaching Spanish for 16 years now.
Wow, that's
and
great.
Right now, in the pandemic, I'm not teaching right now, but the kids I taught up to 8th grade, and I've been teaching several years in 2 different schools, 1 day a week each school.
Yeah.
So you say in the Philippines,
played for the national team, right, of Venezuela?
Yeah. So I played on the national team for 3 or 4 years, and we ended up playing in the Olympic qualifier. But we lost to Steve Nash in Canada, and he was on the team with Roland Barrett, who played. His son is R.J. Barrett for Knicks, and then we lost to a team from Brazil. They had Nene Hilario.
And
Anderson Viraggio,
Yeah.
And,
Barrigel.
Leandro Barbosa.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then we lost to Puerto Rico. They had Picolín Ortiz.
Yeah.
They had a good team too. So, exactly.
Carlos Arroyo.
Carlos Arroyo, that's right.
Yeah.
So those were the teams that ended up going to in Argentina. Argentina was good. They guys went to the NBA after that with Ginobili and Nocioni.
Yeah, that whole bunch of guys. So
Walter Herman, they're all there.
Okay, so the Venezuelan team made the Olympics, the previous Olympics, but it was 6 teams from the Americas. And this year, when I played for the Olympic Venezuelan Olympic team, there was only 4 teams, so we took 5th. So we didn't get to go in the Olympics, but we played the Dream Team, and the guards that were on that team were Tim Hardaway, Jason Kidd, and Gary Payton. And I knew all of those guys because Tim Hardaway played for the Warriors, and he played in Pro-Am with us. And Jason Kidd and Gary Payton grew up in Oakland. That's right. Across the bridge from San Francisco. So it was kind of cool playing against them. I used to go to Gary's birthday party. He had it on the boat at Pier 39, and and Jason Kidd, I watched him play in the Tournament of Champions at Oakland Coliseum all the time, and they all played on the same Pro-Am team with Brian Shaw, and that's our City Ball group right there, and all those guys. They played at Kezar and John Greenberg, Oakland and Jim, and we had a good time playing over there. I was proud of those guys for playing on the Dream Team and representing.
That's crazy, right? You got to play with Magic Johnson back then, and then you get to play with guys like Varejao and Barbosa. So those are generations of NBA players, and you're able to span both of those generations.
Exactly. Now, when I played, I was in the World Games, and everybody was there. Yao Ming and Hedo Turkoglu. It was in Indiana.
Yeah. I remember that.
Amazing.
That's when the U.S. didn't win.
Yes, Argentina was good.
Yeah.
Hey, but the best player in the whole tournament was Dirk. Dirk was killing everybody. It didn't matter you double team or triple team. Dirk was just going off.
Yeah. Well, Spain was pretty good that year too, right?
Dirk was awesome that year.
Serbia was also good with Divac and Stojakovic.
Right. Did you continue playing point guard when you went to France and Venezuela? You were a point guard, or were you playing more of a two?
Point guard. I did.
Okay, fine. So you made that shift already. You became a pure
guard. The national team in Venezuela, and in France, I played the point guard. We had a couple good teams. One year we won the championship in Lyon, and that was a special team.
Did you play against any future NBA players when you were playing in France as well? I mean, Tony Parker's.
One of the guys on my team, his name was Stephen Richichet. He wasn't an NBA player, but he played against the Dream Team and all. He played really well. Another guy, his name was he played for Sacramento. Oh shucks, I forgot his name.
French guy?
Petrus?
No, John. I'm not gonna remember it.
Yeah. Okay. Because Petrus was probably was playing in France at the time you were playing.
He was, but he was younger than me. I think he was on the young team when I was playing out there. I'm several years older than he is.
Next photo, please. Let's see where this takes us. Yeah, and this is great because you're on the Family Feud.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about this. Yeah,
you guys know this show? You watch this show?
I watch. I'm a big Steve Harvey fan.
I began watching that. Who was the original host?
Richard Dawson.
Richard Dawson.
Yeah, Richard Dawson was kissing all the girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's what Noel does too.
Oh, not really.
Hey, Noel, you the man. You the man, Noel.
No. Don't let the beard fool you. He's not telling the truth.
That's my mom right there. She got out there and started dancing. It was on YouTube and got like 4 million hits. She got out there and started dancing with Steve. Well, I was like, oh my goodness.
How'd you end up on Family Feud, Harold?
That the lady next to me on my left, her name is Michelle. That was me and Michelle was married until last year. We were married for 9 years. She called and set us up and got us on the show. And we had to win a couple games before we got on, and we finally got on, and it was amazing. That was right. It was days. And that's my sister right there. My sister Jamila's, you can see him behind Steve. And then my son is on my mom's right. His name is Anthony Harold Keeling. You're not able to see him in this picture, but we had a fantastic time.
Right. Did you do Fast Money? Were you in Fast Money?
No, we lost on the last word.
Oh, come on.
They cheated us, man.
They cheated us. I love that.
Yeah, Charlie. The question was, what do you have to put up with when your spouse is sleeping? And the answer was, you had to put up with his snoring or something. I was like, oh my goodness, that's not really a good answer. So I got all my answers right. You know, I watched that show. I like playing it. So
I would have guessed that.
That's fun, and he's crazy because Steve Harvey's crazy.
He is. He was making jokes about all of us, man. It was okay if he make jokes about me if I get that $20,000 though.
Now remember when the NBA guys were on. I mean, he had fast money with Shaquille O'Neal. He tried to put his arm around Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. Shaquille.
He ended up holding his butt.
His booty. Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. I saw that show.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, but Steve
Ernie
Harvey's
was on there.
Okay, that was great. I'm sure that was quite an experience.
That was.
Yeah.
What's next on the slide? Here you are, Game of Thrones. What was this about, though?
Game of Thrones. This is at Kevin Hart's birthday party. And
okay.
The NBA was sponsoring, and me and Dale Ellis went over there, and Kevin Hart was hanging with us, and I couldn't believe he was so short. But he was making jokes all night. You know, HBO paid for the whole party. There was a lot of stars there. But every All-Star weekend, there's a lot of parties to go to, and we see a lot of people, a lot of the players, and the big Sunday brunch is the biggest event of the whole time. And Dr. J and Magic and Michael Jordan. I mean, all of the guys are there.
Harold, I need to ask this. I mean, you're very active with the retired players and all of that, the association and things like that. Is there any discrimination at all that you only played 1 year? Like you weren't one of the stars anyway? Do some of the stars they don't talk to you? You know, they say who's that?
No,
guy?
everybody talk to everybody. There's no discrimination in that part, but it's discrimination as far as what the gifts you get. For example, I only played 1 year in the NBA. So in one meeting, I was in there arguing because the NBA players deserve a higher pension. But I don't get the pension because you had to play 3 years. So I'm in there arguing for people to get more pension, and I'm not going to be the one to benefit from it, but it's part of my job and part of the why we have the meeting. But you know, those other guys was in there, Earl Monroe and Walt Frazier and Rick Barry and Bill Russell, and all of those guys were in there, man. It was kind of cool. But at the same time, like also the other thing is the insurance. If you marry, I mean, if you play 3 years, you get insurance for the rest of your life. You play 6 years, you get you and your wife for the rest of your life. You play 9 years, you get you, your wife, and your kids for the rest of your life. And then the pension is you get paid for every year you played. You get like $800 for every year you played per month. So if you play 5 years, you get $4,000 a month for the rest of your life.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. You can live off of that easy. I know. You go to the Philippines, you a king over there with that type of money.
Yeah, right. 4,000 a month.
That is true.
Yeah.
Especially
I mean,
now.
some of the guys play longer than that, so it works out pretty good. So
yeah.
That's great. Okay. What's next on the slide? These are some of the guys. Dale and
Terry.
Terry.
We work together all the time. You know, that's Dale Ellis. He the president of the Atlanta chapter. And that's Terry Cummings. He was a great player in the NBA.
Yeah. I still remember these guys with hair.
Yeah.
when you sent me this photo, when I saw this photo, Harold, I thought I didn't think that was Terry Cummings. I thought it was Terry Mills.
Oh,
remember Terry Mills from Michigan?
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. Terry Cummings. What? Okay, that's the guy now. Okay.
It's kind of cool working with guys that you've seen on TV, and you know they were big time players and all of that. And it's also kind of cool being the CFO. You know, I got to write the check, so they got to come see me sooner or later.
I'm sure that's great.
I'm part in charge of the money, Charlie. You know what I mean?
Hey, they say that the guy who holds the money he holds the power, right?
Yeah,
right.
The guy with the gold makes the golden rules. The guy with the gold makes the rules.
That's right. These two guys were great, man.
Now I remember Dale Ellis being this spectacular shooter. He lost to Larry Bird in a 3-point shootout once, but Dale Ellis worked his entire life to become one of the leading 3-point shooters in the NBA. But now everybody's on pace to beat Dale Ellis, who's playing in the NBA right now.
Yeah,
talking about Steph Curry, Damian Lillard. I mean, these guys. What's your take on the NBA's evolution now? Now that it's more like you're shooting from half court and it's okay now.
Yeah, it wasn't okay back when I played, but hey, Noel, I'm from San Francisco, And the Warriors went to the finals like 5 years in a row.
That's
and
right.
They had Steph and Clay, and then they got KD and that. And I live out here in Atlanta now, and the game is at 7:30 in San Francisco, which is 10:30 here. The second game on TNT or whatever, and I got the NBA League Pass, and I get sleepy in the middle of the game, man. But I stay up to watch the Warriors. That team right there was something special to watch. Everybody's like.
That's right. That's right.
And I remember Steve Kerr going on record saying,
and then Houston didn't have no big guys; they just shoot threes all the time.
Yeah,
especially under Dan Antoni. Dan Antonio now he works with Steve Nash over in Brooklyn. So now James Harden wanted to go there because that was his coach, and Kyrie and KD. I think Brooklyn's gonna win it all, y'all.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I remember.
We'll see.
I remember Steve Nash actually. Not Steve Nash. Steve Kerr going on record. All these 3-point shooting is destroying the league. That was when he was a GM. Then he becomes the coach of Golden State, and he causes all of this shooting trend. So that's ridiculous. Right?
And then Noel, and then they won more games than anybody in history.
Right.
Right.
But that's
how many more photos?
Guys.
A lot more photos. Yeah. What's next? What's next on the list? Right? It's great that you get to have it.
Dr. J.
I mean, the guys are really friendly. It's no discrimination whatsoever. The guys are laid back. And we eat together, and we have the brunch together. And Dr. J has a camp here in Atlanta, and it's at the Salvation Army, and his son plays in the.
Looks like we lost Harold for a bit.
Yep.
Everybody still okay?
Yeah, we're alive.
Yeah, let's see if his internet recovers. My internet's been a little spotty here today as well.
Yeah, but I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah, there you are. Are you with us? Are you with us again, Harold?
Right here.
Yeah, we lost you for a few seconds.
You're saying about Dr. J having a camp in Atlanta. Go ahead.
Yes, and his son comes down with his team from the Salvation Army or the Boys Club, and they play against the team from here in Atlanta. And so I help him, and we organize it and get it together. So Doc's a real cool guy.
Well, I'm pretty sure, man. Must have been thrilled.
And how about Magic? I mean, you said you were you wanted to learn more about business. Magic's probably the best businessman among the retired players. So what about Magic?
I mean, I get to be around Magic, and he's a very nice guy. We've taken several pictures together, and his wife Cookie, and me and Michelle. When I was married to Michelle, we was with them sometimes. But I mean, we never really sat down and talked business. You don't get that much time with him, so it's kind of cool that he's so down to earth and polite and friendly when at the brunch and the NBA All-Star Weekend. So. Seeing all of the guys that I grew up watching, that is absolutely amazing for me. That's one of my favorite weekends of the year every year. This year, the game was in here in Atlanta, and there was no functions because of the coronavirus, which has changed a lot of people's lives. And I hope that it'll end soon. I got my first vaccine last week, so I have to get back in a couple of weeks.
That's good.
I'm praying for all of the people who have lost family members and have lost jobs, and that the world will get back to normal as soon as possible.
Same. Yep.
Yeah. I just want to ask you, Harold, about the Hawks. What do you think of Trae Young? Speaking of 3-point shooting.
There's another guy who shoots from half court.
Hey, we did a couple. The retired players did a couple events with the Hawks, and I think he's amazing. He had a great year last year. He played in an All-Star game, and this year, 2 guys couldn't play: Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I was almost sure that they were going to call Trae Young to come play because he's already here. He didn't have to come from anywhere. But one of my guys, Lloyd Pierce, who's a very good guy, he played at Santa Clara with Steve Nash, and he was coaching the Hawks. And then another guy from Santa Clara, Marlon Garnett, a very nice guy as well. He's assistant coach for the Hawks. They've been doing a good job over there.
Yeah, I was expecting at least 3-point shootout. He would join.
Yeah, since he's already here, that would have been easy to bring him.
That's right.
And it would make sense also if he would join if not the All-Star game.
Then they had one shot in the 3-point contest. You could shoot from the green ball.
Yeah, he would have made all the greens.
That's like Damian Lillard, Trae Young, and
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry land right there.
Yeah,
that's right. That's normal shot for them. Okay, what's next on the gallery? How many do we have left, Sid? That's the last one?
I think.
Oh, this is the last one.
Well, all those years you were playing, Harold, you here in the Philippines, you were here for a short time, but you played so long in France and in Venezuela. Did you earn a nickname? Did they call you something? Were you called
No,
anything
I
there?
remember in the Philippines, they always put in the paper, "Killing me softly," and I would
Yeah,
laugh.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Killing me
right.
softly. I remember that. That's right.
You remember
That's right.
that?
But
Yeah, I didn't
Right,
really
yeah.
have so much overseas. Besides that, it was they just used my name. That was it. I was happy to play in all of those countries and meet so many friends. It was an important part of my life. Best years of my life.
of
So
course,
you
long,
retired
long,
at the
long
age
career.
you retired at the age of 40, playing
Right.
professional basketball. I mean, what made you go on that long? I mean, a lot of players would probably retire earlier and then probably get into business, but you stayed until 40. What made you go on that
Yeah,
long?
that's part of why I stopped too. We started that business with the group homes, and we owned me and my mom Jennifer Keeling, my sister Jamila Miggins. We had the group homes at the Raleigh residence, named after my grandmother, who I was born at her house in the projects in New Orleans. When she passed away, we wanted to keep her name going, so we got to start the Raleigh residence, and the corporation is called Ellis and Brothers Incorporated. Ellis is my daughter. She has two brothers who are my sons. And we helped over 1,000 kids over the years. And right now we closed down during COVID. Who only Lord knows if we'll open again, because this COVID is taking a lot longer than we thought it was going to take. So we don't
That's
know
right.
what's going to happen. And I actually could have played a few more years because I was playing as a Venezuelan player when I was in the Philippines. So I could have been over there like Jaworski or something. But at that point, my kids, they kind of needed a foundation, though. And I needed them because they were studying from August to Christmas in the United States. And then the season started in January in Venezuela. So they were studying Spanish until the summertime. So they were flip-flopping. And I think it was about time that, and my wife at the time, Anna Lynn, wanted us to put the kids in school and let them get a foundation. I guess she was tired of going back and forth too. So 40 years old was good enough.
Did any of your kids follow in your footsteps, show interest in basketball, and probably even come close to what you achieved?
All three of my kids are very good athletes. Michael played in Venezuela for 2 years, and then Venezuela's the economy started getting kind of bad out there, so it got kind of rough. So he stopped playing.
Yeah.
And Anthony, he ran track at the University of Georgia. He graduated a year and a half ago. And Elisa goes to Kennesaw State University. Michael played basketball in Virginia, and he graduated. Then he went to play overseas pro in Venezuela. So those are the only three kids I have. And they are fantastic.
Does your daughter play any basketball as well?
No, she can't play at all. She'll be the first one to tell you. She ran track when she was in high school, but
okay.
It didn't transfer to her.
Right.
And I love you.
So what keeps you busy today aside from that being the CFO for the Retired Players Fund?
We just stopped dealing with the kids in January. So right now I'm just taking it easy and trying to stay out of I have asthma, and my mom and sister have underlying situations. So we closed down the group home for right now, and we just trying to wait till the situation over. So I'm an investor in real estate and stocks, and I spend a lot of time. That's what takes up my time right now.
Well, you did mention that
you had a long career.
Yeah, you did mention that being in the Philippines was like yesterday for you. Is there any memory that stands out in your time here in the Philippines?
My biggest memory was going to another country, meeting people from another country, hearing people speak a different language. I'd get there and people say, "Kamusta ka?" And I know Panal and Mo. They had different things that they would say. And then I went to France. I learned how to speak French, playing there 4 years. And like, je ne parle pas très bien en français maintenant parce que passé beaucoup de temps sans parler en français.
And of course, Spanish now.
Obviously, I went and learned a whole Spanish. I'm fluent in Spanish, so I won't even say anything about the Spanish situation. The culture, the food, the weather, the trees, the buildings, the freeway, the supermarket. Every country you go to is something different. The people. So playing overseas till I was 40 years old was a major part of my life. And
what was your favorite food when you were here in the Philippines? A lot of people say adobo. I mean, what was your go-to food in the Philippines?
My go-to food was the prawns. They had prawns like this big, and it was the seafood.
You too. That's exactly what.
Sometimes we have pork chops too, and me and Michael was just eating up everything. It was
Yeah.
a good
Dexter
thing we was
said.
running so much and playing so many minutes because we would have came back with bellies. We were just eating up everything. It was nice.
Right.
Well, wow, that's great, man. What a recap of a career that spans so long and so many
Right.
experiences. You gained so much from basketball, and I'm sure you're still involved with the sport in one way or another.
Right.
Lots of things to be thankful for. But we'll wrap up in a bit. Before that,
Hey,
I have
Charlie,
a
let me
bunch
say
of
this real quick.
yeah.
Charlie, let me say,
Yeah,
Noel,
go,
you asked
go.
about the experience real quick. I went
Yeah,
when the
go.
season was over. It ended on like Thursday or Friday, and Andy and those guys said we couldn't get paid until Monday. So I went to Hong Kong for the weekend. It was right there, and I had a good time. I never
Hour away.
thought I'd do that, but I had a couple extra days, and I always remembered that trip. It was something special for me.
Mhm.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
Did you
it
go
was.
to any of those
I'm
foot
sorry,
massage
Charlie, go ahead.
places when you were in?
Yeah.
Did you go to any of those foot massage places when you were in Hong Kong? That's a must-have.
No, but I went in Philippines. My mom was getting her hands done and her toes done, and it cost like
Oh, yeah.
$1 to get your hands done and $1 to get your toes
Yep.
done.
Manicure,
So
pedicure.
she
Right,
went over
right.
there, and then the next day she said, "I'm gonna go back again." I'm like, "You just got your hands and nails done." She said, "Yeah, but I don't like this color, and it's $1, and I'm gonna go back again."
Why not? Right? Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, and then while she was in the Philippines with me, she had to go back to work, and we won like 6 games in a row while she was there. And Andy said, "How much you making in the United States?" And she told him, "Look, we just gonna pay you to stay here. We'll pay you more than that. You no games while you here." So she stayed a couple more games, and she came on back to the United States. She was having a fantastic. They put her
Yeah,
on
good
TV
time,
and
good
everything. You guys don't remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. I've
Yeah, I
said you
remember.
earlier, right? He was on TV. Of course, whenever there's a relative, they show him. Yeah, they showed him on TV all the time. Okay, Harold, I got this thing. It's called X's or O's. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. You have to make a choice. No explanations. You just tell me which one is your choice for each one. Okay, let's go. Let's start it. Okay, I'll make you choose now. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Rolando Blackman or Mark Aguirre?
Mark Aguirre player, Rolando Blackman person.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Derek Harper or Brad Davis?
Derek Harper.
Derek Harper. 1985 draft. Pat Ewing or Karl Malone?
Karl Malone.
Karl Malone. Michael or Magic?
I'm gonna go with the guy who I got a picture of blocking his shot. Let me go with Michael Jordan.
Okay. You're in Atlanta now. The question is Michael or Dominique?
Dominique's my guy, but I got to go with Michael Jordan.
Okay. Venezuela or France?
Man, I love me some Venezuela. That was some of the best years of my life playing in Venezuela. I got to go with Venezuela. My kids born there. My wife is from there.
Michael Hackett or Billy Ray Bates?
Billy Ray Bates, the Black Superman, was one of the best players who ever played in Philippines.
Yeah.
Okay. Atoy Ko or Sonny Jaworski?
Man, I don't like nothing about Sonny Jaworski. I'm going with Atoy Ko, my man, the 3-point shooter, smooth as silk.
I love that reaction to Sonny, man. I
That's
love
the best.
you gave him respect earlier because he played till he was 50 something, but you don't like anything about him. That's great.
Man, my ribs still hurt. He hit me about 40 years ago.
You and a lot of other people, Harold. Don't worry, you're not alone. Okay, next is Abit Gidabit or Yo-Yo Villamin?
I got to go with Yo-Yo. Yo-Yo's one of the nicest guys on the team.
He's based in New Jersey now, they say. We've been trying to contact him, but he's based in Jersey now. Okay. Billy Ray Bates or Dexter Schaus?
I'm going with my man, Dexter Schaus. Me and him
Dexter
played against
Schaus.
each other in NBA camp, Venezuela, Philippines. And I got to go with Dexter because he said something good about me when he was on the show on here.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, I'll throw another name in the mix. Billy Ray Bates, Dexter Schaus, or Rob Williams?
Wow. I'm gonna go with dunker Billy Ray, scorer Dexter Shouse, 3-point shooter Rob Williams.
That's a good answer.
That's
a
a
good
safe
answer.
but it's the right answer. That's right. That's what
Yeah,
they're
that's
known
right.
for. Okay, how about this? No, Michael Hackett or Norman Black?
I got to go with the 100-point scorer.
Okay.
Second, and I'm gonna go with the married a pretty Filipino girl first, Norman Black.
Okay. That's great. Okay, that's about the basketball. One last question for you. Robert De Niro or Al Pacino?
I gotta go with Scarface, baby.
All right. You got
Pacino.
Scarface. Okay. Pacino is the answer.
To my little
All right.
friend.
Yeah, exactly. Your little friend. That's X's or O's. That's X's or O's for this episode. Noel?
I just wanted to ask Harold. You had such a very colorful career, and then you ended up retiring at the age of 40. What is the legacy that Harold Keeling leaves behind now, as far as basketball goes, for the next generation?
As far as basketball, the thing all my years of playing, since I was a little kid playing on the playground, I always had a basketball court in front of my house, and just to play the fast break is what I live for. Out there in the Philippines and Venezuela and France, just get the ball and go up court and score in the open court. That's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to make friends with the people who I worked with, people who worked in the front office, and most of all, the people in the stands. All the time I'd go over people's houses. Even in the Philippines, I went over some houses and met some people. And Ernie brought us to some friend's house, and we went to the provinces to go to some friend's house and just to meet people. And they would always get excited because they saw us play on TV, especially in Venezuela. I would always do that with the players' houses in Caracas and everywhere else. So it just being a people person, it gives you an opportunity to do extra because they know you already. So they already are happy to meet you. It gives you an opportunity to speak a loud voice and to be friends with people that you may not get to meet otherwise.
Thank you very much. Sid?
Okay, my
What's your question, Sid?
For you, Harold. Who are your 5 favorite teammates of all time?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm going to go with, obviously, I definitely going to go with Michael Young. I am definitely going to go with, I got to go with Rolando Blackman. I'm going to go with Scott Lamson. He played with me in college. I'm going to go with Byron Scott. He played with me growing up when we were younger, me and Jimmy Taylor. And then in Venezuela, I got to go with a guy named Omar Walcott because we played together and we won championships together and we went a long time. I know that's already 6 people, but I got to name one more. I got to go with Steven Jackson. That dude, I love playing with him. He always getting in fights, and I had to save his butter. I don't know how many times, but he's the guy you want on your team. I'm really serious about that.
Well, you have memories of him from 2004 against Detroit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right.
Good example.
A lot of malice in that palace, huh?
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah. Anyway, but that might have cost the Pacers a title. Anyway, yeah, but that's a different topic altogether. But what a great session here for the past 2 hours with Harold Keeling talking about basketball and other stuff, Family Feud included. So well, it's been great, man. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing your stories with us. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego. And on behalf of Sid Ventura and Noel Zarate, I'm Charlie Cuna. We thank Harold Keeling. Yeah, we thank Harold Keeling for being here for episode 72. 72 already of An Eternity of Basketball. And as usual, it's a wrap. It's in the books. 72. And we're going to say goodbye. City Ball represented right here. Joe Fish and the rest of the gang. You've been represented right here. And then, of course, Sid supports women. We all do. We love you. And all right, we thank all the followers and the guys who watch us here on An Eternity of Basketball, as usual. Once again, so episode 7 is done.
Wanted to add something?
Hey Charlie, I want to shout out to some of my City Ball guys. I want to shout out to Joe Belfry and Ricky Mixon and Richard Morton and Don Robinson and Thaxter Otterberry, all of the guys from San Francisco.
All right. All right. Yeah, all those guys for the City Ball. That's Harold Keeling, ladies and gentlemen. Maraming salamat, Harold Keeling, and to the rest of you, AOB, now in the books. We're signing off. We'll see you soon. Take
right.
care, everybody. Harold, thank you so much.
Good luck
Stay
out there.
safe, Harold.
I'll see you guys when I get out there.
All right.
All right.
Right.